This happened when I was 21 years old, working in a magazine office. We had a work Halloween night, but everyone at the office planned for an after-work party in a club. I carried my Halloween costume, which was Wonder Woman, in my bag. Once we all got off work, we dressed up for Halloween. At the clubs, there was the usual sea of people. Most were in costumes, most of the girls wore skimpy and revealing costumes, while the guys were superheroes, video game characters, zombies, and evil clowns. Honestly, there were very few scary costumes, but one guy did stick out in particular. He managed to be super creepy without even trying. He stood off by himself on the balcony of the club, staring down at everyone partying on the dance floor. He wasn't really wearing a costume. He was in jeans and a brown pullover, but he had a mask on his face. The mask was that of an old woman's face. It literally looked like a face that had been freshly skinned or ripped off of somebody. It was bloody and even a little soggy. Damn, that mask looked almost real. I never actually saw the man's face, as he never took the mask off. He drank using a straw through the mouth hole in the mask. The area around the mask, including a thick black beard he had underneath, was glistening with fake blood. The whole effect was so creepy and bizarre. I ignored him and went to the bar for another round of drinks.
May I buy you a drink?
A creepy, cold voice gave me jitters. I looked beside me and saw the man standing near me. I felt uncomfortable when he approached me. I smiled and said, "No thanks, I can buy my own drinks." Did I say something funny?
You know, I think you're pretty, but I don't like your attitude.
Then get the hell out of here. His glowing eyes watched me silently from behind the mask for a few seconds. Then he walked away. Crazy weirdo. We stayed in the club for an hour more, and every time my eyes landed on that man, I saw him approaching another woman at the club. Everyone rejected him because he seemed like trouble. I was happy seeing him getting ignored like that. He was walking to the exit of the club when he saw this nerdy teenage girl dressed like Thelma from Scooby-Doo standing alone. I saw them talking. Then the man grabbed her hand and brought her to the dance floor. They started dancing, and the girl seemed happy around him. I heard the guy tell the girl the exact same line he said to me.
I think you're pretty. Can I buy you a drink?
Thanks. Sure.
How about we got the bar and talk? Women here were really mean to me. You're the only one who has been nice tonight.
Okay, let's go. The girl nodded yes, and they went towards the bar. A few minutes later, I didn't see the guy or the girl in the club. I thought they may have left, but it still bothered me how the girl decided to spend time with a guy like that. 2 days later, I was watching the local news. On the TV, the news anchor was reporting. There was a picture of a young woman on the screen.
Police say the young woman was last seen leaving home Tuesday, October 30th at the local club around 10:30 p.m. while partying with her friends. A few hours later, when her friends decided to head home, they could not find the girl anywhere in the club. They called her parents to know if she had already left, but when the parents said their daughter hasn't been home yet, the friends got worried. They went straight to the cops to file her missing person report. The security camera of the club has managed to capture the footage of Elena leaving with a man dressed in a creepy Halloween mask. Once the cops scanned the footage well, they got chills. The mask the man was wearing matched another girl named Brittany, who went missing a week before Halloween. The man is likely to be the abductor and the murderer of Brittany, as cops suspect the mask he was wearing indeed belonged to Brittany's face. Since no one has seen the man's original face, it's getting difficult to trace him. But the cops have...
Holy smokes! The guy's crazy! I called the police and was put through to a tip line that had been set up for tips about Elena and Brittany's missing cases. I told the person on the line about the guy at the club. To my relief, the person informed me that they were getting lots of calls, all stating the same thing. So many calls from people who had seen this guy with the mask that the police were acting on it. The search for this man was on. This incident would have been enough on its own to scare me for life. The fact that I had conversed with this killer who said I was pretty, and now I know why, terrorized me the entire night. It was enough to cause some severe anxiety. But then the next morning, when I went to my car to drive to work, I found a note stuck to my windshield. It was a little soggy, as it had been raining the last couple of days. I picked it up, thinking it was from one of the neighbors. I opened it and read it. It made my stomach drop. The note read simply,
"You're pretty."
FYI, the man was never caught.
Is someone there? Hello?
Who are you talking to?
Ah! Oh, it's nothing. Probably just a raccoon.
I didn't know they could talk.
I wasn't trying to talk to them. I just...
You got scared?
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. I'm here. If anybody tries to hurt you, I'll cast a spell on them.
Thanks. I feel so safe.
You're welcome. So, do you still want to get out of here?
Yeah, this party is so lame.
Well, where do you want to go?
Anywhere. Let's go for a walk, I guess.
As long as we're going there together.
You know, I only came to this party because I knew you would be here.
Yeah, I knew that. You're the only reason I'm here, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then let's get out of here.
It's about time. So, what made you decide to dress up as Jason?
I don't know. I guess I wanted to lure an unsuspecting victim away from the crowd and hack her up into pieces.
Hey, stop it! Don't say that!
I'm sorry, I was just kidding. I hate this dumb costume anyway. Masks are dumb.
No, I like your costume. It fits you.
The getup of a psycho killer fits me? Gee, thanks.
I didn't mean it like that, just... You look good with a knife in your hand.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What kind of stuff are you into?
Never mind. Pretend I didn't say that.
I'm pretty good at pretending. I can pretend to be anything you want.
Shut up. You're bad.
What? No, I'm not. This is just plastic. It's not real.
Of course. I know it's not real. I'm not stupid.
Well, I know you're not stupid. I was just saying that I'm not actually...
Shh. It's okay. I just don't want to walk around with you like an old person. You see that bench over there?
Yeah, what about it?
Doesn't it look comfortable?
It would be if you were sitting on it with me.
Exactly. Let's go. So, are you gonna hack me up into pieces now?
What? You mean with this old thing? Not a chance.
Don't litter, you bad boy.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll pick it up later.
Later? What do you mean later?
After I'm done with you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What was that?
It's probably nothing, just a raccoon.
Probably nothing. Or maybe it is something. Like a creep watching us.
A creep? What are they gonna see anyway? Two people kissing? That's some saucy stuff right there.
Shut up. Will you just go check? For me, please?
I'm telling you, it's nothing. It's just a raccoon or a possum.
Like that thing you saw out by the house was just a raccoon and didn't scare you at all? Come on, just go check.
Oh, come on. I'm telling you, it's just a dumb rat or something.
Just a rat, huh?
Okay, fine. I'll go check it out.
Thank you.
Hey, scram! Get out of here! I'm trying to have a nice time with my lady here, and I don't like all y'all scuttling and fussing around in the bushes trying to get a peek. So go on now, get! See, I told you it was just some dumb animal. Nothing to worry about. Now, where were we? Huh? Lisa? Where'd you go? Lisa? Where are you? Lisa? What's going on? Who's there?
Ah!
Lisa! I'm coming!
Hey! Let her go!
How about no?
You sicko, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with me? I'm not the Jason without a machete.
Shut up! Why are you doing this?
Why am I doing this? Why aren't you stopping me? Oh, that's right. Because if you take one more step, I'll cut open her throat right in front of you.
Don't you dare!
Like anything you do will make a difference in the end. Don't you realize how screwed you are?
What are you talking about?
Shh.
Who's there? What's going on? Show yourselves!
You two were such the perfect couple. An evil witch and a psycho killer. Such a shame you were just a couple of fakes. Otherwise, a bunch of creeps like us would be easy to handle, right? If only you had your magic wand and your plastic machete. You should know better than to go wandering where you don't belong.
Stop! I'm sorry. We'll leave. I'll give you anything you want. Just let us go!
You moron, can't you tell? What we want is you.
Ah!
I was stacking the sandwiches in the freezer when I heard the shop bell ring. Here comes another customer. I went back to the counter and saw this old woman with a tired face standing in the store. She was looking for something. Ma'am, do you need any help? I would like a strawberry shake. The drinks are in the next aisle. Do you want me to get it for you? Oh, no, dear. You've been so sweet. I'll check it myself. With her trembling, slow steps, she headed for the second aisle. My eyes went back to the entrance hearing the second ding. And now there was a man. A man who looked like he hadn't eaten in days. His eyes were wide and he had a creepy stare. But obviously, I didn't want to be rude to a customer, so I asked, "Can I help you?"
I'm here for a sandwich. I have money.
I gestured toward the back of the store. He hurried like a hungry mouse. I watched him tear off the sandwich wrapper and start gobbling at it. I didn't disturb him, as I expected him to pay on his way out. In between his bites, he was making eye contact with me. His eyes never blinked whenever we looked at each other. God, he's so creepy. Hello, dear. I had one shake standing here near the aisle. Hope it won't be a problem. Oh, no, it's fine. I would like to buy one more. Here. The old woman placed a strawberry shake on the counter and asked, "How much is it for two of these?" While taking the money from her, I glanced back at the man, and he was almost done with his sandwich. He, too, was walking towards the counter now. Thank God he's leaving. I felt relieved. I was handing the change to the old woman when the man stopped in front of the counter and said,
One sandwich. Sorry I didn't pay first. I was really hungry.
"It's fine." I started billing him, and the old woman was walking towards the exit. When she was almost out the door, she turned back and asked, "Can I use your washroom?" "Definitely. It's on the end to your right." Seeing the woman walk back into the store, the man's behavior changed. He got self-conscious and nervous all of a sudden. "Here's your change. Visit us again." He didn't take the change from my hand. Instead, he leaned closer and started doing small talk.
So, what time does the store close?
"What?"
Just asking.
"Maybe you should get going. I have tons of work." I started typing in the system, pretending to be busy. I thought if I just ignored him, he would go away. But he just kept standing there. "Excuse me, is there anything else?"
Yes. Would you like to go for a smoke with me?
"No, I don't smoke, and I'm working, dude. What the hell is your problem?" He got tense, but still tried convincing me to spend more time with him.
No need to get angry. Just take a break. I can see you look tired.
"Look, if you don't leave right now, I'll have to call the manager. Also, there are CCTV cameras all over the store."
Please don't be so hyper. Just try to understand what I'm saying.
I don't want to hear any of this. Our argument was getting worse when I heard a voice. "Is he bothering you, dear?" I looked behind the man, and it was the old woman. I completely forgot her as she went to use the bathroom. But seeing her in the store, I got back my courage. I grabbed my phone and yelled, "I'm calling 911. You need to leave now." "Leave her alone. Go back to the streets, you punk." I was so proud of the old woman for standing up for me. She warned the man, "I'm staying right here until you go, weirdo. You heard me." The man looked back at me with a helpless, sad expression, like he was so disappointed with life, and then he started walking towards the entrance. I was worried as the old woman was also on her way out. As the man walked closer, I kept praying to God that he didn't do anything reckless. He was inches away from walking past the woman when he suddenly turned back and jumped on her.
Ah!
"Get off of me! Get off of me, you scum!" The man pinned the poor woman down on the floor and they began struggling. The old woman was trying her best to free herself from his grasp, but she was not strong enough to stop him. "Let me go! Now!" "Hello? 911? You need to send someone here. There's a man who has gotten into the store and attacked a customer. I'm calling from the 7-Eleven on the highway." The operator kept consoling me, saying help is on the way. I was thinking to go help the old woman when something shocking happened. The man grabbed something from the old woman's pocket and flung it on the floor.
She's not what she seems. I saw the knife when she was going for the bathroom.
My world collapsed under my feet as I saw that cute old woman's face change into a hideous witch. "Ah, what are you gonna do now? You ruined all my plans! I will kill you!" A few seconds ago, the woman who felt so helpless and fragile to me was now standing in the store, breathing like a raging bull. Her eyes were bloodshot. She tried to attack the man, but this time, I heard cop cars outside the store.
"Police! Put your hands over your head!"
The woman was arrested, and the cops identified her as the granny killer. For the last few weeks, she's been said to target empty convenience stores. She would come in when there was no one in the store except the night worker, and she would stab them to death. After making sure no one in the store could stop her, she would rob the store and leave for her next killing. I thanked and also apologized to the man. We often forget real evil comes with many masks.
It was the Halloween of 2010. I was only 10 at the time. I was on the cusp of being too old for trick-or-treating, so I aimed to make the most of that night. My costume was of a cowboy. I'd learned from experience that the more detailed the costume, the more candy you get. I was going to hit every house that I could. I expected to get so much that I even brought one of those big black garbage bags to hold the candy in. I was going to make it a night to remember. It was, but not for the reasons I had hoped. I went alone because there were no other kids of my age going trick-or-treating. I knocked on each door and faced the same kind of questions.
"Aren't you a little old for trick-or-treating?" "Oh, how cute! Never grow up."
Dumbass!
So, I got very disappointed. I was running out of houses and all I got was a bag of jelly beans and 2 Snickers, not even a single big bar of chocolate. I was thinking about heading home when I saw this house at the other end of the street. It was the only house that had no Halloween decorations, not even a pumpkin on the porch. But the lights were on, so I thought to give my luck one last try. I walked to the house and knocked on the door. No one answered, so I knocked again.
Coming!
Whoever was inside sounded like he was in a bad mood. I once thought to run away, but his footsteps were so close that I didn't dare to move. I braced myself for something bad to come. The door creaked open and a bunch of fingers followed by a head peeked outside from the dark. It was a man, probably of my father's age. He stared me down and then said,
"What do you want?"
Trick or treat?
Wait here.
I was shocked not to receive judgment at my age. He quickly disappeared into the darkness of the house and then came back with a big chocolate bar. The wrapper was a greenish yellow in coloration, with unknown language written on it. But still, it was the biggest collection of my night, so I smiled.
Here you go.
Thank... The man didn't wait for my reply. Feeling a little weirded by his behavior, I waited on the porch for a few more seconds. I looked to my left and the man was standing near the window, staring into my eyes. I felt so scared seeing him watch me like this. It was as if he desperately wants me to leave, because if I don't leave, he might have to do something bad to me. When I still didn't move, he opened the window enough for me to hear his voice and said,
"Go home. My kid'll be back any minute. Go, now!"
Feeling a sudden jerk in my body, I started to run. I came back to my street and was panting in fear. Kids were still trick-or-treating. I sat down on the bench on the sidewalk to take a break. I was sweating in fear. A few moments later, when I finally calmed down, I shrugged off the encounter with that crazy man. I took out one Snicker and started chomping on it. I needed some energy badly. Once I was done, I got up and threw the wrapper in the dumpster at the corner when I saw that man again. He was standing on the other side of the road. His eyes were big and they were searching for me. Among all the running kids, he was trying to locate me. I didn't want to get seen by him, so I quickly turned my back to him and grabbed my candy bag from the bench. I started walking to my house, which was at the end of the street. Each time I looked back, I could see the man still searching for me. When I left the crowd of kids, I heard running footsteps behind me. I looked back in horror, and the man was coming towards me at full speed. Oh no, he found me. I started running too. I looked back the second time, and the man yelled,
"Stop! I won't hurt you! Stop!"
But I was in no plan to stop. I would have reached my house if two kids riding a bike didn't come out from the left side of the road. They made me trip and went past me. I fell on the floor. I cut my jaw and got bruises on my knees. I quickly turned around to see that man standing right next to me. He crouched down over my face and snatched the garbage bag from my hand. He emptied the bag on my face, with the big chocolate bar hitting me last on the face. He took the chocolate bar he gave me and said,
"This was for my son! You can't have it!"
Then, he took out a Snicker and threw it at me.
"Happy Halloween!"
He gave one last smile and walked away, leaving in trauma and shock for life. I didn't come out the next day, not even when I heard the cops. I saw it all in the news and later heard from my parents. The man who chased me and took back his candy turned out to be the murderer of his little son. He fed his son poisoned candy as a gift for his Halloween. The news showed the half-eaten candy lying on the kitchen floor where the cops found the poor kid's body. That was my last trick-or-treating. It's been roughly 18 hours since the elevator stopped, and I don't know what to do anymore. I was heading to my apartment on the 9th floor and got trapped in this hellhole. Several times, I've contacted the 24/7 service number printed on the inside of the elevator, but they're no help. Neither are my parents, nor the police. I got into the elevator on a Friday night, thinking this weekend will give me some more time to relax. I watched the number plates change. Everything was fine until the 6th floor. But right on the 7th, a sudden jerk took place. Ah! I grabbed the corner walls for support, and then the elevator stopped. It took a minute to realize I was stuck in an elevator, but once I did, I started panicking. I pressed the emergency button, but nothing happened. I checked my phone, which had no network. I looked at the CCTV camera and waved my hand. "Hello? Help! The elevator's stuck!" I sat down on the elevator floor. Worries started to hit me. Tomorrow is a Saturday. The cleaning guy took off for this weekend, which means he will be here on Monday morning. How am I going to get out of this? I jumped and started banging my fists on the elevator door. "Hello? Can anyone hear me? I'm stuck in here! Please help!" The doors were so tightly closed that I couldn't hear any sound outside. Slowly, I started sweating. I began biting my nails while thinking of ways to escape this purgatory. The closed environment started to make me claustrophobic. I got rid of my tie and unbuttoned my shirt to breathe correctly. Wiping the sweat off my forehead, I sat down again. I don't have any food or water, and if no one comes to my rescue tonight, I might have to be here till Monday morning. I looked above and saw the vent. I tried jumping to reach the top of the elevator, but my height wasn't enough. I started sweating even more. I could hear my lungs rising higher and higher to catch a breath. I can't waste my energy like this. The feeling of being trapped inside an elevator gradually took over my mind. Am I gonna die in here? It's possible, right? The scarcity of oxygen and water can kill me, no doubt. It started getting so hot inside the elevator like someone had set a fire from the outside. I could feel my lips tremble, my feet were numb, and I started to pass out. I got onto my knees, holding my neck. I could feel someone was choking me. My vision went blurry, and I don't remember when I fainted. A high-pitched squeaking sound brought me back to my senses. I opened my eyes to see a pair of big black eyes staring back at me. My heart stopped as those eyes never blinked. Ah! I jumped in fear, moving straight to the other side of the elevator, and the mouse dropped from my chest. Jeez! Almost gave me a heart attack. My scream scared the mouse and it ran to the hole in the left corner and disappeared. But now I noticed the walls of the elevator. Something bizarre had started to happen to them. There was a big, damp-like mark on the elevator doors, and a hairy, stringy thing almost like a twig was poking out of it. I touched the damp with my fingers and a thick black liquid started dripping. The texture of the damp felt disgustingly squashy. What the hell is all this? And then again, I heard the squeaking sound. I thought the mouse was back, so I looked at the hole in the corner, but I didn't see it. I went close to the hole and tried to see what was on the opposite side. At first, it was only darkness. Suddenly, a tongue sprung out from that hole and started to move like crazy. Ah! What is this? Please help me! Get me out of here! A scary growl could be heard as well. The tongue looked like it belonged to some creature from a terrifying place. Right then, the elevator lights started to flicker. No! No, please! I kept hitting all the buttons like crazy. I just wanted this nightmare to end. I knew if I didn't get out of there, I would eventually go mad forever. Or worst, I might end up killing myself. Losing my mind, I grabbed the tail-like thing poking out of that damped wall and started pulling it. The more I pulled, the squeaking sound grew louder. The tail came from the wall at one point, making me fall on my back, and thousands of mice started crawling into the elevator. Their dirty smell and soggy, hairy bodies made me nauseous. The sight was straight out of a horror movie. Tons of mice jumped out from the damped wall, filling the closed space like water. Mice were everywhere. They were on my shoes and soon rose to my waist. I was drowning in a sea of plagued mice, and my screams were dying down in my throat. Help! Somebody! I don't want to die in here, please! Someone call the cops! When the army of mice reached my neck, I felt their teeth on my skin. They were biting me off like ants finishing a sugar cube. Ah! Ah! Stop! Stop! I began picking each mouse and throwing it away as far as possible, but they didn't stop. I screamed for one last time and fainted. When I woke up, I heard the ambulance. 2 men were taking me out on a stretcher. An oxygen mask was covering my face, and I saw the daylight shining on my face. I stayed in the hospital for a week due to severe dehydration and low blood pressure. The cleaning guy found me in the elevator Monday morning. I was trapped inside the elevator for more than 40 hours. Though there were no wounds or bite marks on my body, that invasion of the mice still haunts me to sleep. My doctor said I suffered major hallucinations and panic attacks due to the claustrophobic environment. I still get goosebumps thinking how real it all was, even if none of it made any sense. I don't think I'll ever feel safe inside an elevator again. The story you just saw is a fictional representation of the trauma lived by a man who spent 41 hours trapped inside an elevator. In 1999, Nick White was 34 with a home, a beautiful girlfriend, and a great social life and a good job. But all that was about to change when he got trapped in an elevator without food or water. Working late one Friday evening, Nick left office to smoke a cigarette outside. Once he'd finished it, he walked back into the building. He got into the lift and pushed the button. On the way up to his floor, he felt a jolt, and the lights dimmed for a second. Nick White soon realized that the elevator had stopped. He rang the emergency bell, the first thing anyone would have done. He waited for a while for someone to answer, but no one did. The more time passed, the more the horrifying thought of dying in that closed space reigned his mind. 2 days in an enclosed space without food or water is an incredibly long time to be imprisoned. The CCTV footage of that night went viral, and Nick eventually filed a lawsuit against the managing committee.
But why was he talking to you anyway?
Come on, Sam, let this go, okay? It was just a text.
Yeah, right. A sudden text from your ex is nothing to worry about.
God, please don't put your insecurities on me, okay? If you can't trust me, then what are we even doing?
Fine, let's break it off then. Sam, you coming to the practice after school? Leave me alone, Liam.
Care to share?
Who are you?
Ariel. And you?
Sam. You're new here?
Yeah, joined in the midterm. Parents are getting divorced.
Lucky you.
You're funny.
Want to get out of here?
Bunking my first day? Awesome.
Let's go.
What do you want to do?
There's a lake in the woods. Follow me. Woohoo!
God, you're crazy.
Come on, Ariel. Let's be crazy together.
Look, there's a hut.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I met you today. It was special. Here you are. Where were you, Samuel? Lily has been crying here for hours.
I just wanted to be alone.
You two kids, sort your fight now. I don't want her crying anymore, Samuel. Whatever you did, fix it. I'm sorry, babe. I swear I won't fight with you again. I won't talk to my ex anymore. Please, let's not break up. I love you, okay? Do you need help, Mrs. Patrick? Just got home. What about you?
Crap.
Good morning. See you at school today.
Morning, dude. You need to come to practice today. The coach is really mad at you. What happened, dude? You seem worried. Liam, if I tell you something, will you keep it a secret? What? No, first you have to promise me. Yeah, man, you know you can trust me. Lily and I fought yesterday. I was made, so I broke up and bunked school. But when I came home, Lily came to patch things up with me. So, did you guys sort it out? Yeah, we're back together, but that isn't what's worrying me. Then what is it? I met this girl yesterday and bunked classes together. Whoa, what girl? This new girl named Ariel. We went to the lake and... Holy smokes, you slept with her? I don't know what I was thinking. I was upset and Lily got a text from her ex. It all made me so mad at her. But it was a one-time thing, right? Yeah, from my side, but Ariel hasn't stopped texting me since last night. Well, just ignore her, man. Who would believe her anyway? Do you think I should confess this all to Lily? Don't be stupid. You just got her back. And it meant nothing with this other girl. Not like you promised her to marry her or something. Get dressed. We're gonna be late for school.
Hey, do you guys watch IMR Scary Tales?
Hi, Sam. I was thinking...
Oh, Ariel. Hi. Didn't see you almost.
What? You know her, Sam?
Yeah. Lily, this is Ariel. She's new here. And Ariel, this is my best friend Liam and my girlfriend Lily.
Hi, Ariel. How did you and Sam meet?
Oh, she asked me for the principal's office yesterday and I gave her the directions.
Oh, I see.
See you later, Ariel. Let's go, babe.
Don't be sad, Ariel. If you want, I can replace Sam. I mean, we'll do so much more than what you and Sam did yesterday.
Sure. Why don't we meet in the pool after class?
I would love that.
And listen, don't tell Sam about this, okay?
Hey, where's Liam? He never misses practice. Don't know, man. Tried calling him many times, but it's going to voicemail. What was the last time you guys saw him?
Right before going to class, Liam was joking with me and Sam. He was all fine, officer. He can't just kill himself.
We aren't sure of that. So you think someone murdered Liam?
I thought what we had was special, but you lied to me about your girlfriend. You shamed my character to your friend. Now everyone you love is going to die.
Lily? Where are you?
At home. Why?
Go to your parents' room and don't open the door until I come.
My parents went to see my aunt. I'm the only one home, but...
What was that?
Wait, I think it's the pizza delivery guy.
No, Lily, don't open the door! Please, wait! Damn it, Lily! Pick up the phone! Lily, are you alright? Hello?
Hi, Sam.
Ariel? What are you doing there? I swear, if you touch her...
Best of luck finding her, Sam. It's my turn to be crazy.
It's Ariel. I know it's her. She's the one who killed my friend Liam and now abducted Lily. Please, officer. Sam, I told you I checked the school records. There was no such student named Ariel in it. No new student enrolled in the middle of a term.
Sir, we traced the number he gave. The phone was found in the dumpster outside the police station.
Who was she? And what did she do to Lily?
I'm kind of a coffee junkie, so when Starbucks opened in my neighborhood, I made it a ritual to visit the place every morning. My office was on the way, so I would stop by the Starbucks drive-thru, get my coffee, and head to work. The Starbucks was pretty busy in the morning, but me being a regular never had to wait more than 5 minutes. But it felt excruciatingly long the last time I visited Starbucks. In fact, now I don't go near Starbucks. I don't even like coffee anymore. The smell of coffee suffocates the air around me. It reminds me of him and how he made my life miserable. One day, I was waiting in the queue at the Starbucks drive-thru on a rainy morning. Even though the weather was bad, people were still out on the streets. Everyone was rushing to their workplaces. By the time I reached the window, people had started to get impatient, honking their horns, making loud noises. I took out some cash and, without looking at the window, said, "My usual, Liam, thanks." But when no one took the money from my hand or even uttered a single word, I got confused. I turned my head to the drive-thru window and saw a completely new face. It was a man in his late 40s. He had a pointy face with a goatee at the end. I don't know why, but he reminded me of a goat. He was looking at me with an angry frown. Sorry, where's Liam?
Liam's gone. Do you want me to take your order?
I ordered and waited with a grumpy face. He was rude, but I wasn't in any mood to start a brawl early morning. I took my coffee and drove away. The very next day, I went to meet a client at Starbucks. I was waiting inside the shop when I smelt a strong odor of sweat mixed with burnt coffee. Before I could turn around, that same barista from the drive-thru appeared in front of me.
Have you ordered already?
No, I'm waiting for someone.
Is it your boyfriend?
What the? That's none of your business, dude. Seeing me raise my voice, a few customers looked at my table. The barista smiled and said in a low, creepy voice,
I'm John. I hope you have a wonderful day.
And then he left. What a jackass. First he was rude to me, and now he's asking about my love life? The client arrived, and our conversation lasted for an hour. The entire time, I could feel eyes on me, like someone was watching me from the counter. Every time I looked there, I could see someone hiding behind the kitchen wall. The entire night, I could not sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I could see John staring at me without blinking. The smile on his face was huge. I woke up late the next morning and had to rush to the office. As much as I hated the idea of going to Starbucks, my body screamed for a cup of coffee. By 11:30, I was in the queue of the Starbucks drive-thru. I wanted to keep it short this time. When I arrived at the window, John was already standing there.
Got late, huh?
One large cappuccino, make it quick. I patiently waited and disregarded anything that came out of his mouth. Once he handed me my coffee, I went to pay him. He took the money and said,
Did you party a lot last night? Is that why you're late to work today?
I put my car in drive when he suddenly inserted half of his body into my car, almost hunching over my face.
If you stop answering me, I'll make sure you never talk. None of your boyfriends will be able to save you.
And that pushed me over the edge. I splashed the hot coffee on his face and gave him a tight slap, buzzing his left eardrum. He backed away and I started to scream. Who the hell do you think you are? Are you nuts? I want to talk to the manager. Which stupid-ass employed this moron? Chaos took place. The Starbucks manager came out and I was pulled aside. John stood there quietly, but I kept on screaming. I'm gonna call 911. I will sue all of you. Just wait. The manager stopped me and insulted John in front of everyone. He then fired him then and there. I was offered a month of free coffee as a gesture of apology. When I was driving away, I could see John standing on the side of the street. He was waving at me. Bloody creep! Before getting into the elevator, I walked to the bin in the corner to dump the coffee cup. And that's when I noticed it. The words, "Secret message," was written on the cup with a black marker. A straight line was drawn to the foot of the cup. Whoever wrote those words also struck out a few more words on the cup. And now it said,
Careful, you're extremely hot.
I called the cops and informed them about John, the way he was behaving. I feared he might turn out to be some crazy stalker. I stayed with one of my friends that night. Around 5 a.m. in the morning, I got a call from the local sheriff, and he gave me the horrible news. John snuck up inside the manager's apartment and slit his throat with a pocket knife. He was arrested from his house after the surveillance footage caught him coming out of the manager's house in the middle of the night. I felt responsible for making the manager a target of a deranged psychopath, but there's no way I would have guessed the heights of John's madness. I'm glad that he couldn't harm me, and for the rest of his life, he will rot in jail. The story you just saw is loosely based on this creepy incident uploaded from a TikTok account. The owner of the account is a 20-year-old woman who went to the local Starbucks for her usual morning coffee. But once she made it back to her car, she noticed the barista had written something on the cup. As she checked, her stomach dropped. The Starbucks barista had left a creepy note for her. On the top of the cup, the Starbucks employee had written, "Secret message." He'd also drawn an arrow down to the small print on the back of the cup. On there, he had blacked out certain words in the sentence so that it read, "Careful, you're extremely hot." Even though the woman laughed at first, getting awkward with this sudden attention, but quickly she let out her worries, mentioning that she's never going back to that Starbucks again. She received mixed opinions after sharing the photos of the cup. Some said she wrote it herself, while others said she needs to be careful of a stalker in process. What do you think? Let us know in the comments.
When I was getting inside my mom's car, I saw my brother staring at this man. He was standing on the side of the road. I couldn't see his face, but I could sense he was peeking at us from behind a tree.
"Kimmy, let's go, sweetheart."
My mom's voice brought me back to reality. On our way from school, my mom told me she would go to the airport to pick up Dad. It won't take more than an hour, and she needs us to be home.
I couldn't get your babysitter on the phone in such a short time. So, Kimmy, you'll have to be the head of the house for a while. Can you do that, darling?
Yes, Ma. I can take care of myself and Charlie.
That's my girl. You're so smart.
After reaching home, Mom fixed us some snacks and went to pick up my dad. Our doors had password locking system, so the moment I closed the door, the entire house locked up automatically. My brother Charlie was lying on the couch watching cartoons. I was sitting on the floor making drawings, but I felt weird. A fear that something terrible was going to happen numbed my body. All the doors and windows are locked. There's absolutely nothing to be worried about. What the hell is happening to me then? Just then, Charlie mumbled,
Can you see him?
What? Who are you talking about?
I saw someone outside the window.
I got up and stood in front of the window. The street light was flickering like crazy. Under that street light stood this tall man wearing a black suit and tie. He kept his head down so I couldn't see his face. He was so tall that his head was inches from touching the top of the street light. His arms were dangling on both sides, and he had long fingers. The lengths of his arms surpassed his knees.
Was he the same guy we saw near the school?
Charlie was right. He was the guy whom I saw in the afternoon, so that means he followed us home? To get a closer look, I picked up my binoculars. His head was still down, and I watched him for one glance. I backed away from the window, jumping in fright. The binocular fell from my hand and hit the floor. I looked at my brother. He was also frozen on the couch.
We need to call 911.
I picked up the house phone and dialed 911. I glanced back at the window, and now the man was standing in the middle of the street. He moved closer to our house. 911, what's your emergency?
Someone followed me and my brother home from school. He's outside our house now.
Okay, calm down. What is your name?
Kimmy, he's looking at our window.
Where are your parents, Kimmy?
My mom went to pick up my dad. It's only me and my brother in the house.
Okay, Kimmy, stay with me on the line. The officers will reach you soon.
Please hurry. I'm scared.
I kept looking out the window during the call, and every time I glanced, the man moved closer to our house. Kimmy, can you explain to me what he looks like?
He has no face, and he's tall, very tall. He's scaring us. Please help.
Okay, what is he doing now? I looked outside the window and my heart stopped. The faceless tall man was nowhere to be seen. Did he go away? Kimmy, can you hear me?
I can't see him now. I think he's hiding. Oh God.
I started crying. I was only 12. My brother was 9. Charlie was sitting on the couch like a stuffed animal, not moving or saying anything. Just then, I heard knocks on the door. Kimmy, what's going on now?
He's trying to get in.
The knocks soon turned into violent banging. Whoever was on the other side was trying his entire force to break down our main door. The cops will be there any moment, Kimmy. Just take your brother with you and go to the bathroom. Lock the doors and don't come out till you hear. But a big rock flew at our living room window before the operator could finish. Breaking the glasses, it rolled onto the floor.
Oh my God! He broke the window!
I ran to my brother, who had now started crying out loud. I grabbed his hands and we both started screaming.
Please, somebody!
And then I saw a hand grabbing the top of the window. The fingers were bony and huge. Slowly, a tall leg and an entire gigantic building started inserting their way into our home from that broken window. The faceless man now stood in our living room. His head was taller than our ceiling, making him stare down at us. He stretched his big arms to us and covered our faces with his palm. A feeling of dread mixed with a blurry vision took over my body. Everything in front of my eyes started to black out slowly. Hello? Kimmy, are you all right? Hello? Anyone there?
I'm fine now. The faceless man is our friend now. He just wishes to play with us.
Where is he?
Don't worry, they're with me now. I'll keep them safe.
Hello, sir! Don't do this! Don't harm them!
No, I love children. I should get back to playing with them now.
The story you just saw is a dramatic presentation of this chilling 911 call. In this call, a little girl's voice can be heard talking, asking for help. The way the call moves on is horrifying and raising many doubts on people's minds about the existence of Slender Man. Hear the call and let us know in the comment what you think.
See? Someone followed me and my brother home from school. Our parents are not home.
Have you seen this person before?
No. Can you please send help?
Where are you now?
At home, in the living room. I'm looking out the front window. The tall man is scaring us.
Where is this guy?
In front of the house.
What is he doing?
He's standing behind a tree. He's very tall. Help us. I'm scared.
What was that?
I don't know. The lights went out. I'm scared.
Help is on the way.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
What's happening?
He's looking at me. He has no face. His face is gone.
Calm down. Does he have a mask on?
No. He's coming. He's coming.
Calm down. Help is on the way. As long as he's outside and you're inside, you'll be fine. Describe him to me.
He has a suit on and a tie. He's very tall. He has long arms. He's bald.
What is the tall man doing now? What's the matter?
He's in front of the window, facing me.
Back away from the window, get your brother, go into the restroom, and lock the door. Young lady, are you okay? Hello? Are you there? Hello? Young lady, are you okay?
I'm fine now. I'm not scared anymore. The tall man just wants to play. He's my friend.
Where is he? They're with me now. They're safe. Who are you? She will be missed. Sir, please don't do this. I see you already. You're scared. I feel your worries and your doubts. The one you call Sarah will be mine too. How do you know my daughter's name? Goodbye. Hello?
This happened roughly around mid-November 2017. I was working the night shift at my local 7-Eleven, and my coworker was in the back throwing trash in the dumpster. I was out front taking care of customers. I was making sure all of our write-offs were done when I heard two customers fighting over a pack of cheese balls. It was a girl in her late 20s and a woman in her late 30s. They were seconds away from scratching each other's faces out. I ran to them to stop their fight. Ma'am, please don't be violent to one another. I saw the last bag of cheese balls. Oh, you freaking liar. They were again charging at each other, so I stood between them and said, "We have a lot more in the storeroom, ma'am. I'm about to restock the shelves. I will get one more packet for you." I got the woman her packet of cheese balls, and she left the store making faces at the girl. The girl looked rough, if I'm being honest. There were needle marks on her hands, and she constantly scratched herself with her unclean fingernails. "Do you need help with anything else? Why, are you waiting for me to leave?" Even though I was, I still tried to be nice to her, as she was our customer. A few other people were shopping at the store and looking at us. Everyone judged the girl with their disgusted eyes. "No, ma'am. My job is to help you in case you need it." "Well, I don't need it." "Fine. I'll be at the counter." I went back to the counter. The woman bought a bag of chips and a bottle of fruit juice and left while giving me her death stare. God, how am I still doing this job? I kept asking myself the rest of my shift. Once I got off work, handing the keys to the night shift worker, I warned her about this woman. I went home, had some dinner, fell asleep right away. Hello? Claire, you won't believe what just happened last night. The girl you talked about came back, man. What? Did she do anything stupid? She kept asking about you and said she'd be waiting for you. Crazy witch. I think it's time you inform the owner about her before going to work. Why? You don't think she'll try to hurt me, right? You never know, dude. People can be unpredictable. Thanks for the heads up, Mandy. I disconnected the call and sat on the bed with a worried face. I was wondering whether I should call the owner or not when a huge rock landed on my bedroom floor, shattering the glass of my window. What the hell? I jumped from the bed and rushed to see who did this. As I peeked from the window, another huge piece of rock came flying at me. Luckily, I had good reflexes, so I moved away. I waited for a few seconds just to ensure no more attacks coming my way. And when I looked down, I saw that girl from the 7-Eleven last night. She was standing outside my apartment, chuckling like a freak.
Wakey, wakey, sunshine.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Watch me make your life a living hell.
I watched her walk away. I have never been so scared in my life. I am living alone in this new city, and God knows what that deranged lady is capable of. I wasn't going to take any more risks. I would have called the cops, but I decided to talk to the owner first. I called Mr. Gonzalez and told him everything. I even sent him snaps of my broken window and those big pieces of rocks. He told me not to be scared of the girl and just come to the store for the shift. He said he would be there today. I felt a little relieved, thinking if the girl decided to follow me to work now, I would at least have someone to watch my back. I got ready and finally went to work. Mr. Gonzalez was handling the counter today. We exchanged greetings, and I went to stack the shelves with new, fresh supplies. 3 hours went by, and when the girl still didn't show up, I was positive she wouldn't be seen anymore. But, man, I was wrong. I turned my head to see the girl standing inside the store with an evil smile on her face. We made eye contact, and a shiver ran down my spine. I looked at my boss, and he understood the assignment.
Hey, you.
Yes?
Help me find the chips, please.
Sure, this way. We started walking down the aisle. I was leading the way. She was following me. I could hear her chuckling and whispering obscenities at me, but she was speaking in a low volume, so only I could hear it.
Tonight, when you'll sleep in your bed, I'll sneak into your room and I will cut your chest open. I will take out your heart because you don't deserve it.
Okay, that's it. I turned around and pushed her out of my way and went straight to my boss. I told him everything, and he yelled at the woman.
How dare you touch me, freak?
Ma'am, enough! We need you to leave now!
Her eyes just zoomed from my face to my boss's. Her bony cheeks started to get red in anger. While breathing like a monster, she said,
"Who are you to order me?"
I own this store, and I'm not going to order you twice.
You son of a... You want money, witch? Is that what this is all about, huh? You think I don't have money? I'll show you. You wait.
Saying this, she took out a bunch of cards and started throwing them at Mr. Gonzalez like they were dollars. This girl was utterly delusional. I don't know what drug she took to become this way. Slowly, the situation escalated, and she started throwing whatever she could find at my boss. Mr. Gonzalez lost his calm at one point and started throwing back things at the girl, too.
I'll kill you! Fear me, witch, fear me!
She was screaming and having this total meltdown when Mr. Gonzalez came at her and grabbing her hand, he pushed her out of the store. The girl fell on the sidewalk, losing her balance, but she immediately got humbled. She sat there crying for a while and then left. I never saw her again, but I hope she's doing better. The story you just saw is loosely based on this real video. The woman in the video is a customer visiting this 7-Eleven store in Hawaii, but she, for some reason, feels bad about the service. She started trashing the place and throwing stuff at the cashier, but soon her madness takes a turn for the worse. Losing patience, the 7-Eleven worker acts out by slapping the woman and then pushing her out of the store. Let us know in the comments if you have ever encountered anything weird in your local.
It gives me goosebumps to recall that dark and stormy night. The weather was at its worst. I was on my way to a party in Madison with my best friend. The weather forecasts called for severe thunderstorms, but we refused to miss our long-awaited trip. We all piled in my car for a 6-hour drive. The first few hours were fine, just raining and seldom lighting. Then the typical thunderstorm started, the kind where you look down at the lines on the road so you don't end up in a ditch since you can't see anything else. Once, when the lightning flashed, my friend Zen swore he saw a tornado in the cornfield in the distance. We finally gave up and pulled under a bridge until the rain let up enough for us to see. We waited 20 to 25 minutes and then drove a few miles through the storm. The rest of the trip was drizzle, and that post-thunderstorm fog made driving impossible. There were hardly any other cars on the interstate since most people were too smart to be out driving, which added to the creepy feeling. Luckily, we had found a little motel a 20-minute drive away that was dirt cheap. It was 3 stories tall and with no interior hallways. All the rooms were accessed from the outside. Unfortunately, the cheapest rooms were on the 3rd floor and the elevator needed to be in order. The owner had put up a signboard right next to it. Checking into the motel in the middle of the night was interesting. It was still foggy and drizzling out, but humid and hot. There were only 2 to 3 other cars in the damp parking lot. The only lights were from the lobby and the street lights. We walked inside and no one was at the desk. After ringing the bell for about 15 minutes without a response, we called the motel from my friend's cell phone. An older man answered and soon approached the desk from the back room. We tried to negotiate a first-floor room since they were not busy. He was a jerk, though, and kept saying, "They're booked." There were 2 to 3 other cars there. Indeed, some rooms on the first floor had to be available. Exhausted, we took our 3rd-floor room and prepared to drag our suitcases up 3 flights of outside stairs in the drizzle and heat. As we left the lobby, the old man called out to us,
"Lock your doors. Don't answer them after dark."
He went back into the back room and slammed the door. God, that creeped me out. We unloaded the car in the foggy, dark parking lot and dragged our luggage to the stairs. We all saw the elevator as we came around the back of the building. The out-of-order sign was gone, and the doors were open. The light in the elevator was the only light source in the entire back of the building. It seemed like something good finally happened to us on the trip. The elevator worked, and we didn't have to carry our things up those slippery stairs. I remember thinking it was weird that the doors were open. Didn't elevator doors usually stay closed until you push the button? Whatever, it was better than stairs. We loaded our luggage and got in. I pushed the button for the 3rd floor and the doors started to close. The doors were standard elevator doors, and right before they closed all the way, words appeared. Written in red paint or marker on the far side of the elevator doors so that it was only visible when the door closed, it said, "Stay in." Dude, what the hell? Zen said, looking worried. I assured him it was just red paint and a silly kid prank. The condition of the motel screamed about sketchy people in danger, but that was our only option. So we made it up to the 3rd floor and checked into our room. It was a big room with 3 single beds. more than we could have asked for that night. I went to wash my face, but turned on the tap. Murky, ironclad water came out of it.
Ugh, yuck, that stinks.
Shut up, Zen. Be grateful to have a roof over your head. We were all tired, so we immediately threw ourselves onto the beds. My friends were snoring, yet I struggled to sleep. The writing on the elevator door kept flashing in my mind. After struggling for a few more minutes, I heard the elevator ding. Who's coming up at this hour? I came to the door and placed my ear on it. I heard nothing. I looked at the dim, antique brass door handle. I slowly put my right hand on the handle and turned it. The door creaked open, and I quickly peeked out of the slightly open door. I saw a silhouette. It looked like a person. I couldn't make much out of it. All I saw was a tall, lanky, black silhouette standing beyond my hallway. It was not taking anything or doing anything. It was standing there. It made it so much more creepy. It's standing perfectly still. The elevator sound again appeared, and the doors started to slide. The elevator's light hit the hallway, and I saw the man. He stepped inside the elevator facing his back to me, and then he turned to the front. I will never forget the grin on his face. But that wasn't the only disturbing thing about him. He was holding a woman's head by her long black hair. The woman's mouth was half open with her eyes wide in fear of death. We watched each other silently, and then the elevator doors closed. Locking the door, I came back to the bed. I woke up my friends. I don't care if they believed me, but I forced them to leave the motel. We reported to the cops about the motel and the owner, but never got any follow-up. Years later, I learned in the news that a famous serial killer was arrested at that same motel. He cut his victim's head off and then sneaked out the body in plastic wrap to dump in the lake.
The days in Sarah's got shorter, and the air got crisper as fall arrived. The once fun and welcoming streets now had a gloomy feel to them. As the gloomy clouds hung over the area, rain always seemed to fall when it was least expected. I became increasingly uneasy during these days, and realized I was caught up in a horror story I had invented. My name is Say, and my family and I used to live outside of Sarah's in a charming house. The area seemed calm before the strange things started to happen. A man who got into the background was the beginning of it all. I first dismissed him as a chance bystander when he first crossed our street. But the next few days, I started to watch him more and more as he stood in the street looking at our house. He was a tall, strange figure with a face that seemed etched with despair. His eyes, however, were the most alarming thing. They were cold and lifeless, and they never stopped keeping an eye on my house. During the rainy days of autumn, his presence grew more menacing. He would stay there in the rain, standing motionless and unmoving. My family and I continued to notice him as well, and a sense of unease swept through our home. One evening, as the rain beat against the window panes, I made the choice to talk to the stranger. I went over to him after stepping outside into the street. He didn't even look at me or make any movement. My voice trembled. I said, "Hey, what's up with you standing around here all the time?" He slowly turned to face me, his eyes obsidian. In the gloomy silence, he spoke in a whisper that made my skin crawl. I was completely terrified by what he said. I watch your household. I hurried back inside, terrified and drenched, but I didn't tell my father what I'd seen or what he meant by watching my family or why us. I wasn't sure if he believed me, and I didn't want to overwhelm him with my fear. The man was still there the next day, as if he had never left. He stood with his face turned upward, letting the rain soak him to the bone as it had started to pour harder. My limit had been reached. I decided to get law enforcement involved. When the police arrived, they tried to speak to the man, but he was still unresponsive. He was questioned, but his only response was the menacing phrase, "I watch your family." The officers advised us to keep an eye on him and report any suspicious activity, after they concluded that they had not found any evidence of a crime. Weeks passed into days as the man maintained his eerie vigil. We felt like prisoners in our own home, because we were constantly aware of his presence outside. No amount of security cameras or reinforced doors could erase the sense of dread that had crept into our hearts. One particularly gloomy night, as I glanced out the window, I caught sight of something that gave me the chills. The person who had been blocking the road had left. Instead, He was standing in front of our yard, inches from the glass, staring at me with his obsidian eyes. I yelled and ran to grab my phone and call my father. I dialed my father's number, my voice trembling as I recounted the chilling encounter. After a few rings, he picked up.
Dad, you won't believe what's happening,
I said, my words rushed and shaky.
Say what's wrong.
My father replied, concern evident in his voice.
Someone is watching our house and our family. He's on the street every day watching us.
My father listened carefully. He was trying to understand what was going on.
We need to call the police again, and this time we'll request a restraining order if necessary. Your safety comes first,
he finally said. I called the police again and locked myself in a room out of fear. They arrived quickly, and this time they were more serious. During his capture, the man made no attempt to resist. As they led him away, his eerie gaze didn't stop frightening me. The police later informed us that the man had recently been released from a psychiatric facility and had a history of mental illness. Because he thought we held the key to some elusive truth, he became fixated on our family. He hadn't done anything wrong, despite his eerie presence and disturbing words. We were relieved by the experience, but there were still wounds that would never completely close. Saris would once more be tranquil, but I knew that my family's nightmares would always be plagued by the memories of that traumatic fall. The man who had been lurking in the shadows and watching us while it rained was no longer there. Although the man's physical presence may have been erased by the rain, his menacing gaze would live on in our memories.
Last Halloween, my boyfriend and I went to pick up my 9-year-old son, Matthew, from a kid's Halloween party 3 blocks down. As we drove by the neighborhood, we saw people dressed in Halloween costumes, celebrating with their family and friends. Kids were all going home with their parents. I was feeling worried for my son as the streets started to empty minute after minute. We were just 1 block away when 3 boys on a speeding motorcycle passed our car, yelling and behaving like cavemen on a hunt.
God, how old are they?
15, probably? 16?
Do you think they're high?
Those were teenagers, Robbie, and this is Halloween. Where were you on your 16th Halloween?
Not wandering around like mad dogs, that's for sure.
I find that hardly believable.
What, woman? You know I don't lie.
Yeah, not to me. Robbie started tickling me while driving, and I burst out into laughter. The 3 boys were driving in front of us. Stop it! Keep your eyes on the road! Robbie honked the horn, but the boys didn't move. Instead, I heard one of them yell,
"Shut up!"
Robbie honked the horn again and yelled back,
"Move out of the way, morons!"
And the boys slowed down. They arrived just right beside us and all stared at us at the same time. All 3 boys had no fear in their eyes, just creepy smiles.
What? What the hell are you staring at?
The boys slowed down and we drove away. I could see from the rearview mirror that they made us stop and watched us leave. A gut-wrenching feeling of dread gave me a shiver. I don't know why, but I got angry at Robbie for messing with those kids. Why do you do these things? You think you're still 19?
Those kids probably have the worst parents in the world. Take my word for it.
After driving for another 5 minutes, we reached the party. All the kids were gone by then. I called Mrs. Kensky. "Hi, Mrs. Kensky. Please get Matthew. We're waiting outside." You know, I'm so glad that Matthew's making friends. I was always worried about his shy nature. And now that... Robbie, are you even listening to me?
I think those boys are following us.
What? Where?
Look behind us.
I slowly turned my head at the back of the car and saw those 3 boys sitting on their bike coming at us. Right before passing our car, one of them threw an egg at our windshield, screaming obscenities.
Suck eggs! Whoa! I'm gonna teach him a lesson.
Matthew got into the car, waving his friends goodbye, and I heard Robbie starting the car engine. I could tell he was angry at those boys. I tried to stop him. Let it go, Robbie. Let's just go home, okay?
I ain't no coward. That too from 3 puberty-stricken monkeys.
But Robbie never listened to me. He was a good man and always said, in order to be happy, you must take care of others' happiness too. I wish that night he didn't follow those boys. I wish that night we never met them. After driving for 5 minutes straight, we caught up to them. Robbie peeked his head from the window and yelled,
"You freaks, don't your parents taught you how to behave?"
Once they saw us, they increased their speed. Robbie followed them too. Enough now, Robbie! Just drive home, okay? Robbie caught up to them again, and as we came side by side, one of the boys screamed at me.
Who's that, old man? Your Virgin Mary? Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb. Throw more eggs at him.
And that's when the shower of eggs began. The boys started throwing eggs at us like bullets.
Ah! What the hell? Stop!
Robbie! But they didn't stop until they bathed us in eggs. Our windshield was dripping of yolks, and after a point, we couldn't drive anymore. So we had to stop. Just when we stopped, those boys stopped too. Robbie got down from the car, and so did I. I stood near the car while Bobby walked towards those boys. The boys were unexpectedly brave. Even after pulling all that sick behavior, they never ran away. They just stood there, as if they feared no one. Robbie started screaming at them.
What the hell is wrong with you people? Is that how you talk to the women at your house? And what the heck did you just do to my car? Well, don't you have enough money, old man? Didn't Mary's father pay you enough to marry her? You're so funny, Ryan. Shut up, dumbass. You guys are sick. Do you even know that, Ryan? So, what are you gonna do? Arrest us? Hey! Don't you dare me, okay? Don't you ever dare me! Just go home and get yourself checked, bloody psychos.
Saying this, Robbie turned around to come back to the car. He didn't see the gun one of those boys took out from his pocket. I could feel my blood rush to my veins. I screamed, "Oh my God, Robbie!"
What?
Robbie looked back at those boys, and as he saw the gun, his face turned pale. He raised his hands and said in a shaking voice,
Dude, you don't need to do this. Listen to me. Just go home, okay? Just...
No! Robbie! On Halloween 1998, Carl Jackson was picking up his girlfriend's 9-year-old son from a party when some teenagers began egging their car and shouting rude comments about his girlfriend's costume. Jackson then jumped out of the car and confronted the delinquents. After a short argument, Jackson returned to the vehicle. As Jackson and his girlfriend began driving away with their 9-year-old son in the back, one of the pranksters, 17-year-old Curtis Sterling, withdrew a gun and fired a single shot into the rear window of the car. Carl Jackson was struck in the head and pronounced dead a short time later. His fingers were fat and greasy with the oils of the fries he was eating. His face had flaps of fat sticking out like tires.
Stop staring, Roxanne.
My boss, Mr. Tamara, muttered from behind the counter. Who is this guy? Why does he eat like that?
He came in here about 2 weeks ago. Ever since, he's been here for every single day, for every single meal, eating McDonald's.
I joined a few days ago, and this was the first time I was seeing him. Most of the time, I help in the kitchen. Well, I wouldn't say it's a job, really. Not a proper one. Working at McDonald's is hardly a job, but I needed money, and this was the first one I'd found. How does he eat so much?
He records them right here and then goes home. I think he vomits the food out once he reaches home. He later uploads those videos on YouTube.
Ew, who would want to watch him eat?
I don't know, other psychos like him? He eats so much food here, everyone calls him the hungry man.
The next day, I was watching the counter as Mr. Tamara went for a break. I was writing a check when I dropped my pen. I looked back, picking it up. There he was. The hungry man stared down at me. Beads of drooling sweat trailed down his forehead, making their way down to his cheeks, where an uneven beard lay, which was disgusting. Bits and pieces of food were stuck inside it. What do you need, mister?
I would like 3 Grand Macs and 4 milkshakes. Oh, whatever you have. Also 3 large fries. Please, hurry. I'm very hungry.
Yes, I'll get it right now. He put a $100 bill on the counter and said,
Keep the change.
Then patiently waited while I went to the back and asked one of my coworkers to get the meal. all while trying to remove the sickly sweet smell of his breath from my lungs. As I waited for his order, I could see him eyeing me up and down. Minutes later, I went to his table to put his meal. He was recording himself on the phone. I placed the food in front of him and said, "I hope you enjoy your meal." The man smiled and pointed to the camera, saying,
"Say hi to my followers, sweetie. They'll be loving it."
He put me in the frame and started recording me. Sir, please stop recording."
Come on, don't you girls love fame? You would even end up stripping for me if I paid you $100.
What the hell did you just say? I flipped the tray filled with food and milkshakes on him. His clothes were drenched in milk and ketchup. He got up, screaming,
"Are you crazy? You ruined my video, you witch!"
I grabbed a fork, all ready to teach him a lesson, but my boss, Mr. Tamara, walked in. He stopped the fight and asked the man to leave.
"I can't believe you're throwing out a customer for this stupid girl."
The man kept on cursing me and my boss. He even kicked 2 chairs on his way out. My boss called an emergency meeting and told all the employees that if that man is ever seen in this McDonald's, we must immediately call the cops. For the next 2 days, everything went fine until one afternoon. I got the call. "Hello, this is McDonald's. What would you like to order?"
"This is Officer Brad. Give the phone to your boss now."
"Oh, what?"
"Don't waste my time, ma'am."
I rushed back to the kitchen where Mr. Tamara was talking to a chef. "Sir, there's a call for you. It's some police officer." Mr. Tamara attended the phone call.
"Mr. Tamara, are you the owner of the place?"
Yeah, officer. Has anything bad happened?
"We found circumstantial evidence against your employee Roxanne. We believe the stolen item is with her right now, and we want you to search her."
What? Well, what are you saying? Roxanne can't do this. I know her too well.
"If you don't cooperate with me, I'll have to hold you as an accomplice in safeguarding a possible criminal. Search her now."
Mr. Tamara looked at me with scared eyes. He called Betsy, who worked in the kitchen, and told her to take me to the ladies' room. "What? What's going on? What did the cops tell you?"
They said we need to search you. You stole something and have it with you.
"I didn't steal anything. Mr. Tamara, the officers are wrong. Someone might have made a false complaint."
I'm sorry, Roxanne. I have to do what he's telling me.
I started crying as Betsy took me to the girls' washroom. I had to remove my clothes and use this black blanket to cover myself up while everyone ran through my clothes and underwear. "This is all a mistake, I'm telling you. I didn't steal anything." "There's nothing here, boss."
Officer, we searched. She has no such thing. You must have been mistaken. The poor girl's innocent.
"Shut up, moron. Tell her to jump up and down. I want to see if she stuck it inside her. Tell her now."
Mr. Tamara immediately disconnected the call and dialed 911. The cops came and we explained everything. I couldn't stop crying when the cops told me it was a prank call. Whoever called Officer Brad was lying and scamming me. And the most horrible part was when the cops traced the number that called McDonald's. It belonged to that crazy YouTuber who we kicked out a few days ago. I left my job and cut ties with everyone after that incident. I hope I never see any of them ever again in my life. And to that fraud, lying, scammer, psycho, I hope you burn in hell. The story you just saw is loosely based on the disturbing story of Louise Ogborn, 18, who fell victim to the scammer while working at her local McDonald's restaurant in Mount Washington, Kentucky in 2004. She was forced to strip and to perform sexual acts on the restaurant's manager during the 3.5-hour ordeal. The mastermind behind the call had phoned the restaurant earlier in the evening, claiming to be Officer Scott from the local police department. Dad of 5, David Stewart, was accused of orchestrating the bizarre and elaborate hoax. He was arrested. In October 2006, a jury found him not guilty due to lack of evidence.
Trick or treat!
Hi, Jeremy. I didn't know you were going to be a dinosaur this year.
Do you like my costume?
Are you kidding? I love your costume. Say thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Robin.
You're most welcome. Now, let me get some candy for you. I'm going to give you the big bars because I love your Halloween costume the most. Don't give him too much candy.
No, I want the candies, Mom.
It's okay, Mrs. Donovan. After all, it's Halloween. Best time to spoil the kids a little. So what are your plans tonight? Attending any Halloween party? No, Mrs. Donovan. I think I'll just stay home tonight. Okay, have a safe night. Happy Halloween, Robin.
Happy Halloween.
Have fun, Jeremy, and don't eat your candy all at once. It might give you a tummy ache.
I won't.
Good night then. Good night, Mrs. Donovan. Be careful tonight. Don't open your door to strangers, okay? Don't worry, Mrs. Donovan. I'm a big girl. I think I can take care of myself. Of course you can. Hey, I'm back. I thought someone kidnapped you. Shut up. What? It's possible. Halloween is like the 4th of July for these creeps. Do you know how much the crime rate rises during this time? Oh, come on. Can we talk about something else? First Mrs. Donovan, and now you. Who's Mrs. Donovan? My neighbor. She was warning me to not open doors to strangers and all. Who's that? Remember to check through the eye hole first. Yeah, right, because Michael Myers is waiting for me on the other side of the door. You never know. Enough with your crap. I'll be back in a sec. What the? Holy smokes. Wait a second. Is that a man dressed in a baby costume?
Trick or treat! I know you're watching me. Time to give candies to a trick-or-treater.
Who are you?
What do you mean? I told you I came for the candies.
Yeah, but you look way past the age for trick-or-treating.
Are you blind? Don't you see I'm wearing a baby costume? Can I get my candies now?
Oh God, just because you're dressed as a baby on Halloween doesn't make you less of an old creep. Now get the hell away from my house.
You should have given me the candies like you were giving to the other kids.
Hello, Robin. What's taking so long? This man, dude. He was being so creepy. What man? I thought you were giving candies to kids. I expected to see a kid when the doorbell rang, but instead it was a grown-ass man dressed like a baby. Whoa, that's weird. Seems like the old dude just wanted to spook you. Told you Halloween is 4th of July for creeps. Yeah, no doubt. He didn't open the door, right? Of course not. Is he gone now? Well, I don't see him anymore. Good, just make sure to lock your windows too. Yeah, I think I should go to bed now. Just want this night to end. Fine, talk to you tomorrow then. Who's there? How did you get in?
You should have listened to your friend when she told you to lock the windows.
Please don't hurt me.
Trick or treat! Happy Halloween!
When I was 37, I went to my high school reunion. I flew to the nearest airport and rented a car. The distance was about 35 miles through a very rural and almost abandoned part of the country. Guarded by dense forest, the road was pretty rocky. There was no light except my car headlights. After about 3 miles, I saw a man standing on the side of the road. He was gesturing for me to stop. Beside him, a car was parked with its trunk open. Generally, I don't stop, but it was actually my friend Henry. I stopped my car right next to him and asked, "Henry, so good to see you, man. Car trouble?" Yeah. Mind if I come with you?" He looked really scared, and he was constantly staring behind himself into the deep woods. Bro, you alright? Is someone there?" "What? No. Come on, let's go." As he was getting into my car, I heard a sound coming from the same direction where Henry was frighteningly looking at moments ago. "Wait, what's that sound?" I tried to listen carefully. "Just drive!" Henry screamed at me and grabbed my hand on the steering wheel. He was shaking in fear. His eyes saw something that he definitely wanted to forget. I pressed the accelerator and drove away. The party was held on the basketball court. Upon reaching, everyone started to come and talk to each other. Some were happy to see each other, some weren't. "I'm going to the washroom, okay?" Saying this, Henry went towards the washroom. I grabbed a drink and was enjoying the party when I saw one of my other old classmates, Gary, coming toward me. He stopped right in front of me and started yelling. "Stop the party! Stop it!" Hey, what's the matter?" "It's Henry." "Henry? What happened to Henry?" His body had been discovered in the woods near the highway. The cops said Henry had been stabbed 15 times. No, that's not possible. What the hell are you saying?" "The cops found his punctured car on the highway. Seems like his attacker trapped him and lured him into the woods and then killed him." I dropped the glass on the floor and rushed to the washroom. Henry came to the party with me. There's no way what Gary's saying is true. The washroom was empty. "Henry? Henry!" I kept saying his name. Suddenly, my eyes went to the mirror on my left and I saw him. Henry was looking at me from the top of an open bathroom stall. I could see his head floating above the stall, and the stall was more than 8 feet tall. In the reflection of the mirror, Henry smiled and then his face vanished in the thin air. The hair on my body stood up as I realized what the sounds from the woods meant when I met Henry. It was Henry's killer stabbing him in the distance. I still don't know if it was Henry's spirit or if the entire thing was my hallucination, but the story gets even creepier from here. 1 week later, Gary called me. "The cops found Henry's killer." "They did? Good. I hope that freak rots in jail." "He won't." "What do you mean he won't? He killed Henry. What other reason?" "The guy was found dead." "What?" I couldn't speak after that. Gary went on to say that the man's name was Warner. He was a drug dealer as well as a notorious thief. The night he killed Henry, he ran away into the woods to escape the cops. But the next morning, the cops found him dead in the creek. Do you think Henry took his revenge?
This happened in the summer after I graduated high school. My local Starbucks was hiring and I needed a job. They put me on the night shift, working from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. One night, around 1 a.m., I was sitting alone in the shop. The streets were pretty clear except for the occasional car passing through the complex. I was taking advantage of the free Wi-Fi and watching videos on my phone when I heard a small bang behind me. A stack of cups was lying on the floor. I picked them up and I went back to my browsing. Again, 5 minutes later, the cups fell down. I figured the air from the AC knocked over the cups. I groan as I go to pick them up and wonder if I should turn the AC off. As I was in the middle of cleaning up the mess, a bang came from the back kitchen area. That's where we make the desserts. I was confused and slightly freaked out. I entered the kitchen, swinging the door closed behind me. I saw nothing out of the ordinary except the Starbucks poster that we had hanging in the kitchen had fallen down. I rolled it up and sat it on the counter, making a mental note to tell the manager that it fell down the next shift. I went over to the thermostat to turn off the AC since the draft was knocking everything around. I turned it off, and the next 30 minutes were silent. I was getting tired, so I made myself a coffee. I was sipping on my coffee, browsing Facebook, when my headset beeped. That was strange, since we barely ever had any business at this time of night, but not unheard of. "Welcome to Starbucks. How would you like your order?" I looked up at the monitor, but nothing was there. That same thing happened several times up to the point of 2:30. My headset kept beeping every 2 minutes, but when I looked at the camera, there was nobody there. A few seconds later, the coffee machine malfunctioned, spewing foam and coffee everywhere. I freaked out and turned it off immediately. I remember turning it off after making my coffee, so I had no idea how this happened. I needed to use the restroom, so I went quickly in case any customers came. Coming back, I saw Starbucks cups stacked in the shape of a pyramid on the counter. That was extremely weird since they obviously couldn't stack themselves. It was probably the teenagers, I thought. I was debating whether or not to call the cops since they were harassing me, but I decided to wait for a little more in case they come back. I glanced down at my phone for about 10 seconds, and when I looked back up, there were cups everywhere. Stacks and stacks of cups in the shape of a pyramid. I guess around 50 to 70 stacks. I was terrified. Something was here at the shop with me, and whatever it wasn't human. I scanned the place, but there was not a trace of anything. I knew my boss would flip a lid if she found this, so I started unstacking them. When I finished, it was around 3:15. I just wanted my shift to be over so I could get out of this place. Then, there came the bang. It was from the kitchen again. As I stepped into the kitchen, the lights went out. I stood in the darkness looking around. My heart was racing in fear. I didn't know what to expect. Right then, I heard a humming sound echoing. The sound was coming from the kitchen sink. I walked close to it and took my face closer to the drain pipe. Yes, the humming was coming from there. Drops of sweat crowded my forehead. Is this all real? Am I really hearing a woman's voice humming from the other side of the drain pipe? I closed one eye and tried to get a good look inside the pipe hole. Ah! What the? Suddenly, the tap started running, but instead of water, strong brewed hot coffee started pouring out from it. The force was so strong that the coffee overflowed the kitchen sink, dripping from the edges onto the kitchen floor. I watched in horror because it all seemed so unreal, and then the tap made a rumbling sound, like someone was stuck in it. Sprinkles of coffee came out of it, stopping its heavy flow, and then a head squeezed out from the small tap. Yes, a giant bulbous head of a woman, only she wasn't human. Her hair was like octopus legs. Something slimy was dripping from them. Her demonic eyes were yellow pupils on black eyeballs. I've never seen anything like this. Instead of a nose, she only had 2 nostrils, and her mouth has no lips. She had gills like a fish instead of ear. Slowly, her huge, slimy, half-human, half-fish body started coming out from the tap. The sloppy, grotesque sound echoed inside my brain as she pulled herself out of the small hole. Her jaw was hollow and had huge, sharp fangs. She made a chuckling sound from her throat, and I got up screaming. Ah! I rushed to the exit and stopped after reaching the nearest Walmart. A few people saw me and sensed my trouble. They asked me what had happened, and I took them back to the Starbucks, saying I'd seen a horrible creature coming out of the tap. But when we all went back, everything was just as it was supposed to be. No mess, no broken light, not a single drop of coffee on the kitchen sink. That humming sound was long gone as well. 10 years have passed and I still remember every detail of her demonic face. I don't drink coffee from Starbucks because I fear that coffee is the creature's gateway to our human world. The story you just saw is loosely based on the infamous story behind the famous Starbucks logo. That image in the center of the Starbucks logo is not a mermaid. She's actually a mythological siren, a female creature that lured mariners to destruction by her unworldly singing. In Greek mythology, the sirens were dangerous yet beautiful creatures who enticed nearby sailors to shipwreck on the rocky coast and die. Starbucks got its name from the author Herman Melville's Moby Dick novel. However, the famous siren logo came to fruition after the founders discovered her image while scouring old marine books. In 1971, the original Starbucks opened in the port city of Seattle. Since coffee beans typically traveled overseas on large container ships, the founders decided to use a seductive siren logo that would lure coffee lovers to its stores. And seductive she was. The original Starbucks logo was a bare-breasted female siren with two serpentine tails spreading apart. Some people even claim that the Starbucks logo is cursed. By turning the original Starbucks logo upside down, you can see the image of Satan. In 2014, Starbucks got in trouble after its employees were drawing satanic pentagrams and the number 666 in the foam of coffee. Do you think the famous Starbucks logo was hiding something terrifying like this? Let us know in the comments.
Stormy night, huh?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see there.
But I saw you, coming at this store in the storm like a cat who hates water.
You're funny. Hey, babe.
Where are you, Mike?
I'm the 7-Eleven near the high road.
What are you doing there?
My car broke down and heavy rain started. Let me see if I can call a mechanic from the store.
Oh, God. Won't that take a while?
I'm trying to be there as soon as possible, babe. Try to understand, okay?
I don't know what to say to you. Everyone's here, Mike.
I know. I'll be there soon. I've got to go now. Calling you once I get back on the road.
Fine.
Hey, is there a mechanic nearby? My network isn't working properly.
Was that your girlfriend?
Yeah.
How long have you guys been dating?
6 months?
Is she beautiful?
Of course. Very pretty.
Prettier than me?
What?
I was kidding. Look at your face.
Hey, man. Dude, I'm coming to get you, okay? Oh, that'll be so much help, man. I didn't think I'd find any mechanic in this weather. Yeah, I guess that. Can you share your location? Sure, I'll try. Sent. Got it. So you alone there? How fast can you get here? Why? And why are you whispering all of a sudden? Nothing. It's just the woman working here. She's a little weird. Is she hot? Shut up. Oh, come on, tell me. This is quite an interesting driving conversation. She's fine. Looks a little older to me underneath all that makeup. What is she doing now? Staring outside the window? What is she wearing? The obvious 7-Eleven t-shirt. Is that tight for her? Stop being gross, Trevor. You just got your girlfriend back. Who said I wanted her to be my girlfriend? I'm driving all this way. There's nothing wrong to have a little snack before driving back. Ah, crap. What? What happened? I think she saw me secretly looking at her. Now she'll think I'm a creep. Go talk to her. Why waste time like this? Just shut up, Trevor. Get here faster.
Do you need any help? If you're looking for something to eat, I can get it for you. Can you see me now? You didn't answer my question.
Look, I don't need any help. I'm just waiting here for my friend.
But I really want to help you. Maybe we have tools in the basement that can fix your car. Why don't we go down there and check?
I said I don't need your help, so back off.
I think your friend is here.
Mike? Mike!
Stormy night, huh?
Oh, sorry. You must be the... Okay, enough. We need to go. Bro, I was trying to talk to her. You really don't want to, Trevor. Trust me. Just drive, dude. Please, just drive. Okay. No need to go all psycho, man.
Stormy night, huh? Yes, Mom, we just arrived. Ruthie's cooking your favorite. Noah's playing outside with Billy. He's having a blast, I guess. Yes, Mom. The dinner will be ready before you arrive. See you soon. Noah, Billy, stop destroying the Halloween decor.
Don't worry, Auntie. Mom said we can smash these pumpkins.
Ugh, kids.
I can never get bored of doing this. Who's that? Oh, him? That's Paul. He takes care of our house. Mom says he's like Superman. There's nothing he can't do. Where's he going with that pumpkin head? To the old cemetery in the jungle. What? Why? To put a new scarecrow. Why do you need a scarecrow in a cemetery? So the dead don't dare to wake up and come here to torture us! What rubbish. Come on, let's go with him. Good morning, Paul. This is my cousin Noah. He came to our farmhouse for the first time.
I see.
Hello, Paul. So you're gonna put a new scarecrow, huh?
Yes, it's time.
Why do you put a scarecrow in a graveyard?
Because that's how we honor them. After all, they've done so much for us.
What the hell is he saying? He's being funny. Cheer up. Paul means no harm. Look, Paul already made the body. All he needs is to put the pumpkin head on.
You kids stay here.
Man, your gardener creeps me out. Where did you find him? From a freak show? Come on, Paul is a nice guy and very hardworking. He does all the chores and he cooks the best ham in the world. Once you taste that, you'll too start to like him. Our Halloween dinner is to die for. Come on, let's go. The sun's gone down. Mom says not to stay at the graveyard after dark. Why? I thought you're scared of little girls only. Shut up, jackass.
Are you comfortable here? Your smile says you are. Now listen, don't scare the kids tonight, okay? Good girl.
I never thought she could be so feisty.
Well, it's Halloween, Chad. Everyone gets crazy this time.
Is he saying something about me?
Nothing bad, though. We are really lucky to have your sisters as our wives. Never thought we'll find someone to put up with our craziness.
Look at these old school buddies making us all blush, Lena. Yeah, I don't think I'll need to eat butter for days now. A woman has gone missing from the highway. The cops have only found her car and belongings. Looking at the undamaged car, they suspect a possible case of kidnapping. That must be Mom. Ralph, please help Mom with the luggage. She's here. Noah, Billy, Nana's here. Come here and say hi to her.
Happy Halloween, Nana!
Oh, my sugar plums. How you liking your aunt's farmhouse, Noah?
Nana, Noah's scared of the scarecrow in the graveyard.
Oh, poor baby. That's just our tradition. Don't you worry about it, okay? Ah, here comes the ham, everyone. Try it, Noah. Paul makes the best ham.
And he only makes it on Halloween.
Eat as much as you like, okay?
Happy Halloween, everyone!
Cheers!
Billy? Billy! What is it, dude? I need to pee. Can you go with me to the washroom? Come on, dude. You're 11.
Paul, bring the rest of her into the kitchen. And please be quiet. Don't want to wake up the kids. They're too young to know the truth. Put it on the table. Here. Glad he tied her up in the tool shed. If Noah saw this, he will never understand our tradition. Come on, Lena, don't be so worried. You saw how the kids enjoyed her meat, right? Trust me, once they get addicted to the taste, they will have no other choice than to be like us.
Should I slice the rest of her in big pieces?
No, cut her in average pieces so it's easy to store the meat in the freezer. It's awful that we only get to have human meat in October. Ruthie, don't be so greedy. With the cops running around with her missing case, we need to be careful, okay? Yeah, that's why Chad and Ralph didn't go fishing today. You know how they like to catch fish with human fingers? They say it's the best bait for the big fish. Where did you keep the head anyway, Paul?
I got rid of her skin and flesh and put the skull inside the scarecrow.
Well, I hope it doesn't attract flies.
I'll spray disinfectant every morning. Don't you worry.
Aw, thank you, Paul. You're the sweetest. What would we do without you?
Happy Halloween!
That means we're... When I returned from work, I saw a cop car parked under my building. I went in and saw two cops talking to the landlord. They looked at me suspiciously and said, "We'll be back for more." The cops left and I asked the landlord, "Is everything all right?" He scratched his head in confusion and gave me bizarre news. One of our tenants, named Marcus, went missing today. He was last seen taking the building elevator from the ground floor. His apartment was on the 9th, but before he could reach there, he just disappeared from within the elevator. I was so shocked to hear this that I couldn't grasp the landlord's words for a moment.
I was checking the elevator footage from last night. Marcus was inside the elevator till it hit the 6th floor, and then on the 7th, he was gone.
But how is that possible? It makes no sense.
I can show you the footage I have shown the cops.
I went to his office and he showed me this clip of last night. Around 12:30, Marcus got into the elevator. The floors went one after the other, and the elevator suddenly stopped. The visuals suffered a few glitches and the screen went dark. After 3 seconds, the screen turned on, but Marcus wasn't there anymore. My apartment was on the 1st floor. Telling my landlord to keep updating me on this disappearance case of Marcus, I walked up the stairs. I noticed the normal-looking old elevator from the corner of my eye and felt shivers. How could a person just vanish like that? He was right there on the 6th floor, and after that malfunction, it was just the empty elevator on the 7th. I got inside my apartment, showered, and had dinner. Even though I was exhausted, but I still struggled to sleep. That was the moment I realized. It's been 11 months I've been living here now, but not once I availed the elevator. I looked at the clock. It was 12:30 night. Yesterday at this time, Marcus went missing. I never talked to Marcus much, not like he was a talker anyway. We mostly said hello whenever we came across each other in the lobby. He would smile awkwardly and walk away. I don't know what came over me, but I just couldn't stop thinking about this incident. Dragged down by my curiosity, I ended up leaving my apartment. I walked up to the elevator and pressed the 7th floor. The metal doors closed with a screeching sound and the number plate began to change, but the elevator functioned correctly this time. I reached the 7th floor without any trouble, which surprised me. Once I stepped into the lobby, I felt cold. I've never come to this floor. The lights on this floor flickered like crazy. Some were even burnt out, making it hard to see. I slowly walked up to Marcus's apartment. We came into this building the same day. While filling out the forms in the landlord's office, I remember seeing the number of his apartment, 16. I stopped outside the apartment. Using my phone's flashlight, I saw the door sealed with yellow tape. The cops must have searched his apartment. Should I go in? My hand trembled. Am I doing the right thing? I switched on the light and saw the room as a mess. The closet was open, with clothes on the floor. Bed and linens were turned over till the edge. Jeez! Realizing how crazy I had been, I quickly exited the apartment. I closed the door and rushed into the elevator. I pressed the ground floor and the elevator door closed once again. But wait, why isn't it going down? Oddly, the elevator was just standing on the same floor. What the hell? I pressed the button again, still no movement. And then the elevator made a sudden jerk and started going down. But before the number could change from 7 to 6, the lights inside the elevator went off, and it ultimately got dark. Hello? Anyone's here? I started having a panic attack. I switched on my phone's flashlight, and just then, the elevator light sparked and shattered, splashing droplets of fire above my head. Ah! I covered my face while screaming. I removed my hands, hearing the sound of the door sliding by. In front of my eyes stood this dark space with a small white spotlight in the distance, and under that light stood a man. Yes, a man. He had his back to me. Hello?
Help me.
Marcus, what are you doing here? Which floor is this? I looked at the number plate and couldn't believe my eyes. It was floor 6.5.
Help me, please.
Marcus's ominous cry brought my attention back to him. With shaking footsteps, I stepped out of the elevator. The floor beneath my bare feet was so cold. Marcus still had his back on me. Marcus, what's going on? You're scaring me now. Marcus! I took 2 steps ahead, and so did he. Is this guy crazy? I again took 2 steps, and Marcus did the same. I looked back at the elevator and felt Marcus's head turning as well. But the moment I looked at him again, I saw his back. He was mimicking my every move like a puppet. Stop it!
Just turn around.
What are you trying to...
You must turn around.
I turned around and holy smokes, Marcus was now standing right behind me, facing his back at me. I walked towards him screaming, "How did you get behind me so fast?" And he mimicked my footsteps again, walking straight inside the elevator. I stopped in fear as he turned around and said,
"I'm sorry. There's no other way." No, wait!
Golden hues from the setting sun bathed the fields, the harvested crops left behind remnants, the leftovers of a bountiful season. It was our family tradition to take those remnants and craft a scarecrow, a symbol of protection and gratitude. This one's still good for the scarecrow, Mom?
Yes, dear, that one's too worn for anyone to wear now.
Hey, that's my shirt!
Why do you think I let you keep it so long, dear?
I think we outdid ourselves this year. This one feels more lifelike.
More than just lifelike. It's like it has energy. Can you feel it?
You're more than straw, aren't you, big guy? We finished up, standing back to admire our handiwork. The scarecrow stood tall, overlooking the fields, its fabric face serene amidst the autumn wind. Moonlight streamed through the gaps in the curtains, casting an ethereal glow in the room. The distant sounds of nature hummed their nightly lullaby, but something felt off. I sat up, drawn to the window by something I couldn't explain. Peering out, I saw the silhouette of our new scarecrow. The wind played tricks, rustling the scarecrow's clothing in a dance that seemed all too deliberate. It's just the wind. Chill out. The rustling of the fields grew louder, and I could swear I heard whispers, but my logical side said it was only my imagination. First night nerves. Happens every year. The winds grew stronger, carrying a tuneless hum, and as I strained to listen, the whispers became clearer.
Give, take, reap.
I slammed the window shut and drew the curtains, diving back under my blanket. Bright sunlight streamed through the kitchen windows. The smell of bacon and eggs wafted through the air, and the familiar clinking of dishes greeted me as I entered. The scarecrow and last night's whispering fears felt like a dream, distant and almost laughable in the light of day.
Morning, sleepyhead. Took you a while to come down.
Oh, didn't sleep well. Had this weird feeling.
Scarecrow jitters is all. It'll pass.
Emily clenched her jaw as she gave me a knowing glance. Every year, one of us gets the heebie-jeebies. It's a rite of passage.
It's just your mind playing tricks, sweetie.
My plate was loaded with breakfast, but my appetite had waned. The vividness of last night's events seemed silly now, but a part of me still held on to that eerie feeling. Do you think it looks different from yesterday? Different? Son, it's just straw and clothes. We laughed it off, but the unease lingered. As I headed out to start my chores, I couldn't help but glance at the scarecrow one more time. Guess I'll have to keep an eye on you, won't I? The sun was high as Emily and I were doing our usual rounds, checking on the livestock.
Hey, Jake, have you noticed some of the chickens missing?
Now that you mention it, I haven't seen Mrs. Potts' brood.
I counted them this morning. We're short by 3.
Could be foxes. They've been a problem before.
Yeah, but I saw the scarecrow earlier when the sun was just coming up. It looked... I don't know.
I felt a chill run down my spine. The memory of the scarecrow's altered stance from the morning flashed in my mind. Looked what?
I don't know. It looked more filled out today.
We both stared at the scarecrow from a distance, a sense of dread building. It was hard to shake off the feeling that there was something malevolent about it. We should tell Dad.
Let's finish up here first. And Jake, let's stick together, okay?
I nodded, feeling a sense of gratitude for my sister's company. The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting the farm in a warm golden hue. Emily and I approached Dad about our concerns. We found him on the porch, fixing a broken step, tools spread around him. Dad, we need to talk. What's going on?
It's about the scarecrow. We think it's taking the animals.
Again with the scarecrow? Did you two have some bad milk? No, Dad, we're serious. Chickens have gone missing, and the scarecrow looks different. Bigger, bulkier. I've seen plenty of scarecrows in my time. They weather, they sag. Sometimes they puff up when it rains.
But it hasn't rained, Dad. And what about the animals? The chickens?
Look, get your mother. We'll go out there now and figure it out together. The darkness was pierced only by the beam of our flashlights. Emily, Mom, Dad, and I ventured out together toward the scarecrow.
Look, over there. Are those... feathers?
Following the trail of scattered feathers led us to one of our missing chickens. Or at least parts of it. Damn foxes. Foxes. Are you sure?
We need to go back. This isn't right. Wait, we need to check the scarecrow.
Approaching the scarecrow, the air grew colder. The thing that once stood as a protector of our crops now felt hostile. As our flashlight beams hit it, there was an audible gasp. The scarecrow was no longer just straw and clothes. It had taken on a grotesque fleshy form. Feathers peeked out from its body and what looked like a chicken's foot dangled from its arm. It's absorbing them. We need to get rid of it. Burn it, now. The grim realization hung in the air. Our creation was turning into something evil. We needed to act, fast. Our farm had turned into a battlefield, and we were preparing for a confrontation we'd never imagined. We stood in a circle around the scarecrow, its silhouette even more distorted in the silvery glow.
I never thought I'd see the day when I'd point this at a scarecrow.
Neither did I, he began, pouring gasoline over the scarecrow, his hands steady despite the tension. Suddenly, an unholy screech echoed through the night. The scarecrow began thrashing violently, its limbs flailing, feathers and straw flying in every direction. The transformation was almost complete. Its eyes, once vacant, were now full, glowing with malevolent intent.
Daddy!
Without hesitation, Dad threw a lit match onto the scarecrow. Flames instantly consumed it, illuminating the field with a fiery glow. The scarecrow's movements became more desperate, its screeches louder. We retreated a few steps, watching as the creature was consumed. Then, as suddenly as it started, the thrashing stopped. The scarecrow, now a fiery effigy, collapsed in on itself, turning to ash.
Is it over? I hope so.
It's done. As the fire continued to burn, we stood close, watching for any sign of unnatural movement. Next year, maybe we should just go with a plastic owl.
But why take this to your new house? Because this is the only thing left of him, Mom. Jenny, you need to realize Jim was never a good choice for you. I agree, it's sad that he died in the house fire. But finally, you've got a fresh start. Please, leave me alone.
I hoarded the last cardboard box in my car and drove away. My mom stood on the porch with a worried face. I had to fight with her on this. All I'm doing is taking a mirror that belonged to my late boyfriend Jim to my new house. So, what if he was a bit different than others? I loved him, and so he loved me too. Maybe a little too much, but that's still love, right? I cut off all my friends because they too hated Jim. They said he was obsessed, but they had no idea how Jim cooked for me during my sickness. He cared for me like I was his queen. Who knew I would lose him in that terrible house fire? That one night, I went to dinner with my family, and everything changed forever. Jim was angry with me for prioritizing my family over him. I mean, I get it, okay? He couldn't bear it that I gave my attention to anyone other than him. Sometimes it was difficult, but I was managing. Why did he have to die? I parked my car and unloaded my luggage. I rented this house to live alone. I grabbed a mirror wrapped in paper and went straight to my bedroom. I put it right on the wall next to my bed. This is a big mirror. Jim bought it for me from a yard sale. I instantly fell in love with its intricate design. And then I went to take a shower. I was washing my head when I heard someone whisper in my ear.
Get me.
I quickly opened my eyes in a panic. There was no one inside my bathroom. My heart was racing because for a second, I thought it was Jim. He used to sneak up on me during showers. That was his way of showing how he couldn't stay away from me for even a second. I calmed down and got done with my shower immediately. Coming out, my eyes went straight to the mirror. Just then, something moved away in the reflection. Suddenly, my bedroom light began flickering.
Come to me.
I slowly walked towards the mirror. As I stood near it, I couldn't help but notice my glowing skin. I always had acne issues, which resulted in so many spots. But now there was nothing but a shine on my cheeks. I sat down on the chair in front of the mirror. I caressed my cheeks while saying,
Wow, so beautiful.
My hand automatically grabbed the hair comb, and I started brushing my hair sitting in front of that mirror. I was looking at myself. My eyes were never so big. They were perfectly still. My reflection stared back at me like a real person. A smile appeared on my face as I touched my silky hair. The comb never went through so smoothly. God, how come I never noticed how beautiful I am? Someone again whispered,
Don't look away, Kenny.
And I couldn't. Minutes turned to hours, but I was sitting there like that, staring at the mirror, combing my hair with a big smile. After a point, my hands started to hurt. My eyes got watery, but my body was not in my control. I couldn't even blink. I heard my phone ring. It's probably my mom, but I can't look away now. All I want to do is keep looking at myself. The phone rang 4 to 5 times, and everything became silent again. The sun set long ago. My room is now completely dark. The flickering light has switched off on its own. It was me brushing my hair in the dark. I could hear crickets chirping and owls hooting, telling me that day had shifted to night. Yet I couldn't get up. My hands started aching. but I kept hearing whispers from the mirror whenever I thought of giving up.
Don't look away.
I don't know how long I was like that, but I heard the main door open.
Jenny? Jenny? Where are you?
It was my mom. Her rushing footsteps were coming upstairs.
Jenny? It's been weeks. You're not answering my call. And why are you sitting in the dark? God, what is this awful smell? Jen? Jen, you're scaring me now. Jenny? Are you... 23-year-old Jenny Barker was found dead in her apartment this afternoon. Jenny shifted to this new home after her boyfriend's tragic death in a house fire. She argued with her mom and asked for space before moving to her new house. Her mom was worried about Jenny's well-being, but she didn't disturb her, thinking that Jenny needed her own time to get back to life. Even though she called Jenny on the first day of her stay at the new house, Jenny never picked up. Thinking her daughter was still angry with her, the 48-year-old mother waited for a callback. But weeks went by, and Jenny never called. This worried the mother, and today she came to check on her in the afternoon. But as she stepped into her daughter's bedroom, she smelt something rotten. Switching on the lights, she met with a grisly sight. Young Jenny was gone. Her lifeless body was found sitting in front of a mirror. Jenny's mom says the mirror belonged to her late boyfriend. It was highly mysterious how Jenny died. There was not a single wound in her body. It only looked like she had died of starvation. Her body has been sent for autopsy, hoping someone can decipher the reason for Jenny Barker's death.
Hey, want to go to McDonald's?
Yeah!
Emilio was out the door before I could even grab my keys. Emilio, my 7-year-old son, loves to go to McDonald's. I hated the food, but I went there to see Emilio smile. So that one weekend, we headed for McDonald's. Emilio went on talking about which Happy Meal he was going to buy, which kind of shakes he was going to get, etc., etc. The moment we stepped inside the restaurant, I was blown away by the loud chatter of kids, laughing and crying at the same time.
Mommy, I want to go to the play place.
We will, Emilio, but let's sit down first. Come on. When my husband Peter and I arrived at the register, Emilio ordered a Happy Meal and a strawberry milkshake and an ice cream cone. I just asked for a water cup. At a tiny booth in the back, my son started eating his food. I was watching him being so happy when a man dressed as Ronald McDonald came to our table. He was tall and lean and was sucking on a red lollipop like a kid.
What a cute little boy. I'm loving it.
Hey, Ronald.
Well, hi, Emilio.
Whoa, you know my name?
I know all my friends' name. Are you having fun?
I want to go to play place.
Well, then what are you waiting for? Let's go.
Emilio jumped out and ran towards the play place, following the clown. My husband yelled,
Emilio, finish your food.
Later, Dad.
I watched him slide down the slippery slide and landing into the ball pit, and then I watched Ronald staring at my son. He was standing behind Emilio and watching him with a hungry smile.
Mom, come here.
My eyes shifted back to Emilio, and now he was going towards the tunnel. I looked back at the clown, and now he was looking at me from the play place. He slowly lifted his hand and gestured me to shush, putting his index finger over his mouth in a very creepy way. He then followed Emilio with an ear-to-ear smile. Seeing Ronald following him, Emilio started to run. He screamed while giggling.
You'll never catch me.
Yes, I would.
Emilio jumped into the tunnel, and so did the clown. Oh my God, Emilio! I screamed and ran towards the tunnel. My husband followed as well. I waited at the end of the tunnel to see Emilio, but I don't know why I felt my kid would never come out. Each passing second felt like an hour. And then finally, Emilio slid down. His legs peeked out from the end of the tunnel, but he wasn't moving. I thought something really bad happened to my son. Even Ronald didn't come out from the tunnel, which was extremely concerning. With shaking hands, I crouched on the floor and peeked inside. What I saw chilled me to my bone. Emilio was lying on the tunnel, and Ronald was watching him, sitting right near his face. I don't know how he managed to fit inside the tunnel like that, but he sure scared the crap out of me. I pulled my son out of the tunnel, and Emilio burst into tears. I started to panic. I thought Emilio must have blacked out or gone into shock or something, because the next thing I remember was talking to the cops. My husband was right beside me, and Emilio was in my arms. The McDonald's manager came out and told the cops.
There's been a problem, officer.
What problem?
The guy dressed as Ronald McDonald didn't work here.
Then what the hell was he doing near my child?
Miss Rivera, please calm down. I understand what you're going through, but...
Why wasn't there security to watch over the kids? My husband calmed me down, but I could hardly stop crying. The fear of losing your child is the worst in the world. I couldn't help but think how lucky I was to get my son alive from the hands of a maddening freak. The officers tore the place apart, but they couldn't find the man. Then they started asking questions to all the other customers eating there, but not one of them saw the man leave after I rescued Emilio from the tunnel. Everyone's eyes were on me and my kid, so the man must have taken this opportunity to run away. Cops later found a red, half-eaten lollipop outside the back door. No one knows who that guy was or why he decided to show up as Ronald McDonald in some random McDonald's. If you ask me, I think he was a psychopath getting ready to be a serial killer. But the story doesn't end there. After that incident, we stopped going to McDonald's. Emilio was so traumatized that he couldn't stand the red and yellow colors. He didn't eat burgers and fries for years. One night, my husband and I were watching the news when we heard about this kidnapping that happened at a McDonald's. The authorities said some man dressed as Ronald McDonald entered the restaurant and started playing with the kids. Some of the kids' parents got suspicious of his behavior. Moments later, when a 6-year-old girl named Casey went missing, her parents got concerned. Immediately, Casey's mom thought about the guy dressed as Ronald McDonald and started screaming. All the customers started looking for the girl when one of them found her going into the empty, dark parking lot, holding the hand of Ronald McDonald.
Father of 3 kids, Jeremy Morgan, is getting blessings and praises from the entire state of California. After saving a 6-year-old girl from getting abducted, Jeremy has become the hero of the town. When our reporter asked Jeremy about this man trying to kidnap little Casey, this is what Jeremy told us. We were all looking for the kid when I saw her go into the parking lot with this weirdly dressed man. I rushed towards him and screamed at the man to stop. He stopped and turned back at me. He had evil in his eyes.
Why do you think he dressed as Ronald McDonald?
Well, obviously, it's easy to get near kids that way. I mean, I have no doubt that this man has tried kidnapping other kids before. Or, who knows, maybe he had.
I'm loving it!
I was in middle school when this happened. I was a shy yet happy kid. I had one friend, Nathan, and he was my best bud. We were always together playing or pranking people in school. Nathan lived near the city park. My house was the last in the way, so often I was the kid who got down last from the bus. Our bus driver used to be this middle-aged man with a not-so-pretty face. His eyes were expressionless and he detested kids. The entire ride he would scream at us.
Keep your voice down, you little nuggets! I hate this job!
Everyone ignored him because all he did was scream, and kids are used to screaming. One day, Nathan and I were eating our lunch in the school cafeteria. I'm planning revenge. What? Yeah, I'm gonna teach that bus driver a lesson. Why? What did he do to you? He screamed at me yesterday. He screams at everyone, dude. Just let it slide. No way. Are you in? Come on, dude, you're overreacting. Fine, I'll pull it off alone then. I knew the bus driver was a bad person, but I didn't know if he deserved any type of revenge. That day after school, Nathan and I sat on opposite seats. Nathan was like that. arrogant as hell. We weren't talking to each other, but we were exchanging looks. I had no idea what Nathan was about to do, but I knew he was about to do something. The bus driver was talking to someone over the phone while driving recklessly. The bus driver was going on with his usual cursing and screaming when he came to a stop. We were at the signal, and this is when Nathan got up. He took out this small jar from his backpack, and I immediately jumped to his seat trying to stop him.
Nathan, what do you think you're doing, dude? Move out of my way! No one screams at me!
In that jar, Nathan had fire ants. He pushed me out of the way, and just then the signal turned green again. But as the bus driver began to drive, Nathan opened the lid of the jar. I grabbed his hand, trying my best to stop him, but in that struggle, we ended up spilling the ants on him. Within the next 5 seconds, I saw the man turn into a monkey. He pushed the brakes while twisting the steering wheel like crazy. Luckily, we didn't hit anything and stopped with a jerk.
Help me! Help me!
He got off the bus running. He almost tore his shirt, and I could see the red ants crawling on his chest. His face contorted with pain. His eyeballs were rolling up as he screamed at the top of his lungs. Just then, the people in the neighborhood came out and started pouring water on him. Finally, the ants washed away and he was taken to the hospital. The principal asked every kid about the incident, but no one gave any names. All the kids hated him. It was like we all wanted him punished. The bus driver didn't come to work for a week. And then one rainy afternoon, I stepped onto the bus and my eyes went straight to the man sitting in the driver's seat. He wore a full-sleeve jacket even in the humidity, but his face wasn't covered enough. It was that mad bus driver, and this time he looked scary. One of his eyes was swollen closed with an ant bite. There were 2 more bumps on his forehead.
Come on, kiddo. Get in.
My stomach felt twisted after he smiled, saying that. Nathan was right behind me, and his face turned pale seeing him. He whispered in my ear,
I thought he left the job.
I went to the back seat without replying to him. He followed too. We sat down quietly on the entire ride. Maybe we were both scared, thinking the man knew it was us. One by one, the kids were getting dropped off. It was raining heavily, so I could barely make out the view outside. 40 minutes went by this way, and it was Nathan's turn to get down. He got up. Let me know when you get home. See you tomorrow. He got off the bus while getting a chilling stare down from the bus driver. Now it was me and 2 more kids left, and I was the last one. Once those kids left, I went and stood near the door, hoping my house comes ASAP.
You want to get off this bad, huh?
I slowly looked back at the driver. He was chewing something, but it wasn't gum. And then he spat it out right on my shoe, and I saw it. A big red ant.
Want to see my tongue?
He opened his mouth and let out his bumpy red.
Stop! Stop! I want to get off the bus! Stop it! Help!
I started to scream. He pushed the brakes, almost slamming my face on the bus door. And then he opened the door. It was raining and lightning outside, and we were at the city park. The huge empty park behind the rusty old gate stood in front of me. I said in a shaken voice, "But this isn't my stop." He brought his face extremely close and said, "Do I look like I care?" He dropped me off in this unknown area. I knew my way home from school, but didn't know it by way of the park. So drenched in the rain, with no adult to ask for help, I started walking in the empty park while crying. The more I walked, I started to get lost. I ended up on roads that looked familiar. I thought I would die in this endless maze. And that's when I spotted Nathan's house. Like a ray of hope, I ran to them. Nathan's mom opened the door and immediately took me in. I told them everything while sobbing uncontrollably. She then called my parents and the school. The bus driver was fired after that. I just feel lucky that I didn't get kidnapped by some other freak that day.
My roommate and I rented this small house in a safe neighborhood. We were in college, and our side jobs paid us well enough to live a comfortable life. So the house had 2 bedrooms, one at the front and one at the back. The back one was mine as my roommate Jenna refused to take it. She said the woods outside the bedroom window gave her goosebumps. I wasn't that easily scared, so I happily agreed. One night, around December, I was dead asleep in my bed. Jenna was in the study room preparing for an exam. Heavy snowfall was going outside. I don't remember why I woke up, but my eyes went straight to the window facing the woods. I never draw my curtains because I like the moonlight coming from the window. In that pale moonlight, I saw a face staring into the room from the other side of the window. I rubbed my sleepy eyes and got up on the bed. Just then, I saw a man move aside and vanish into the darkness of the night. I couldn't move for minutes after realizing someone was peeking from my window. I told Jenna about this, but she said I was only having a bad dream. But as more time went on, things got even more disturbing. He now comes to my window every night. He thinks I don't know he's there. He thinks he's clever, but I see him. I feel him. When he watches me, I'm stiff as stone. My heartbeat races as I start to sweat, and my blood runs cold, but I never move a muscle. Sometimes, he puts his hands on my window, his breath fogging the glass. Sometimes, I can hear him crying. His intentions are sinister. I know it. This man is twisted. The man is vile. This man wants my blood. He wants me dead. I know it. I won't allow that to happen. I can't. I started to hear his whispers. They're too faint to understand, but I know they're there. I feel the pure evil in his voice. It scares me, and I hate being afraid. Something must be done. Last night, I took one of my kitchen knives and brought it to bed. I hid it under my pillow, pulled up my covers, and closed my eyes, listening, waiting. He came to my window. He put his hand on the glass. He began crying. Then I heard my window getting pulled. He stepped his foot inside my room. He went through my closet and touched my clothes. He pulled up his chair, sat, and watched me. I waited. He started humming lullabies this time.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when the skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
He stood up and walked around the room, sobbing. He walked to the side of my bed, leaned down, and kissed me on my cheek. I grabbed my knife from under the pillow. Just then, I heard footsteps outside my door. Oh my God, it must be Jenna. No, Jenna, no! Don't come into the room now. The man rushed to the window and jumped outside. Jenna got in and I started crying.
Call the cops! Please, just call the cops!
The cops inspected the area around the house. They found shoe prints on the snow right next to my window, but there was no evidence to identify the intruder. The cops patrolled the area for 3 nights. On those nights, nothing happened, and I thought the man was finally gone. He must have been scared away. After 3 days, we were again on our own. For safety purposes, Jenna suggested putting a security camera facing my window, so in case he comes back, we can catch him. Last weekend, Jenna wasn't home. She stayed back at her boyfriend's house. I had just gotten home and was taking a shower in the bathroom. I was tired and washing the stress away with the warm water when I heard a clicking sound. I opened my eyes, and someone flashed a camera blinding my eyes. I came out of the bathroom in my bathrobe. I ran straight to my room and locked the doors. The man was back and clicking pictures of me in the shower. I felt so unclean and terrified at that moment. I called 911 and sat on my bed, turning off all the lights in my bedroom. The first 10 seconds, everything was quiet. Then footsteps appeared. They were muffled yet loud, and they were coming from my window. I watched in horror as the man walked outside my house. Stopping near my window, he placed his hands on the glass, trying to get a good look at my room. For a few seconds, he struggled to accommodate the dark, but then he saw me. He looked deep into my eyes and smiled.
Open the door so I can put you to sleep.
That was the first time he spoke directly to me. I wanted to scream and cry, but I was too frozen in fear to do anything. He began singing the lullaby, standing outside my window.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
I don't remember how long he went on like this, but I remember collapsing on the floor. The cops later told me I fainted out of shock. They found me in my room unharmed. The man was gone, but they found surveillance footage. He was a married man with a family of his own. Seeing him regularly, no one would ever guess his sick mind. I have changed my address now, and I always sleep with my house locked and curtains drawn. In this footage, you can see a man roaming outside a house. His behavior is weird and he keeps getting close to the window. He even stops and peeks in to figure out what's happening in the house. It's pretty clear to the viewer that the man is an intruder, watching the owner of the house. This man was later identified as 49-year-old Robert T. Cassena. He was accused of stalking a 24-year-old woman and peeping into the windows of her Hudson, Wisconsin duplex earlier this year. Charges against Cassena were amended due to criminal trespass in violation of privacy. According to the March 14th criminal charges, Hudson police had been called to a duplex in the 300 block of Locust Street several times that month after the 24-year-old woman reported that someone had been peeping into her windows. An officer wrote in a report that he watched a March 12th surveillance video that shows a man in dark clothing sneaking up to her window and putting his face close to the window trying to see through the blinds. According to court records, 2 temporary restraining orders against Cassena were granted to the woman and a minor who lived in the upper level of the Locust Street duplex.
This happened when I was 21 years old, working in a magazine office. We had to work Halloween night, but everyone at the office planned for an after-work party in a club. I carried my Halloween costume, which was Wonder Woman, in my bag. Once we all got off work, we dressed up for Halloween. At the clubs, there was the usual sea of people. Most were in costumes, most of the girls wore skimpy and revealing costumes, while the guys were superheroes, video game characters, zombies, and evil clowns. Honestly, there were very few scary costumes, but one guy did stick out in particular. He managed to be super creepy without even trying. He stood off by himself on the balcony of the club, staring down at everyone partying on the dance floor. He wasn't really wearing a costume. He was in jeans and a brown pullover, but he had a mask on his face. The mask was that of an old woman's face. It literally looked like a face that had been freshly skinned or ripped off of somebody. It was bloody and even a little soggy. Damn, that mask looked almost real. I never actually saw the man's face, as he never took the mask off. He drank using a straw through the mouth hole in the mask. The area around the mask, including a thick black beard he had underneath, was glistening with fake blood. The whole effect was so creepy and bizarre. I ignored him and went to the bar for another round of drinks.
May I buy you a drink?
A creepy, cold voice gave me jitters. I looked beside me and saw the man standing near me. I felt uncomfortable when he approached me. I smiled and said, "No thanks, I can buy my own drinks." Did I say something funny?
You know, I think you're pretty, but I don't like your attitude.
Then get the hell out of here. His glowing eyes watched me silently from behind the mask for a few seconds. Then he walked away. Crazy weirdo. We stayed in the club for an hour more, and every time my eyes landed on that man, I saw him approaching another woman at the club. Everyone rejected him because he seemed like trouble. I was happy seeing him getting ignored like that. He was walking to the exit of the club when he saw this nerdy teenage girl dressed like Thelma from Scooby-Doo standing alone. I saw them talking. Then the man grabbed her hand and brought her to the dance floor. They started dancing, and the girl seemed happy around him. I heard the guy tell the girl the exact same line he said to me.
I think you're pretty. Can I buy you a drink?
Thanks. Sure.
How about we got the bar and talk? Women here were really mean to me. You're the only one who has been nice tonight.
Okay, let's go. The girl nodded yes, and they went towards the bar. A few minutes later, I didn't see the guy or the girl in the club. I thought they may have left, but it still bothered me how the girl decided to spend time with a guy like that. 2 days later, I was watching the local news. On the TV, the news anchor was reporting. There was a picture of a young woman on the screen.
Police say the young woman was last seen leaving home Tuesday, October 30th, at the local club around 10:30 p.m. while partying with her friends. A few hours later, when her friends decided to head home, they could not find the girl anywhere in the club. They called her parents to know if she had already left, but when the parents said their daughter hasn't been home yet, the friends got worried. They went straight to the cops to file her missing person report. The security camera of the club has managed to capture the footage of Elena leaving with a man dressed in a creepy Halloween mask. Once the cops scanned the footage well, they got chills. The mask the man was wearing matched another girl named Brittany, who went missing a week before Halloween. The man is likely to be the abductor and the murderer of Brittany, as cops suspect the mask he was wearing indeed belonged to Brittany's face. Since no one has seen the man's original face, it's getting difficult to trace him. But the cops have...
Holy smokes! The guy's crazy! I called the police and was put through to a tip line that had been set up for tips about Elena and Brittany's missing cases. I told the person on the line about the guy at the club. To my relief, the person informed me that they were getting lots of calls, all stating the same thing. So many calls from people who had seen this guy with the mask that the police were acting on it. The search for this man was on. This incident would have been enough on its own to scare me for life. The fact that I had conversed with this killer who said I was pretty, and now I know why, terrorized me the entire night. It was enough to cause some severe anxiety. But then the next morning, when I went to my car to drive to work, I found a note stuck to my windshield. It was a little soggy, as it had been raining the last couple of days. I picked it up, thinking it was from one of the neighbors. I opened it and read it. It made my stomach drop. The note read simply,
"You're pretty."
FYI, the man was never caught. No way I'm going out with Jack. That dude is so messed up. You know what he said to Luna?
What?
He said he wants to lick her eyebrows.
Ew, what the frack? Is that some new trend on TikTok?
Yeah, perverts TikTok maybe.
Well, what about Chris? He's handsome and stares at you a lot.
I don't know, maybe. I think we need to sit down and decide which guy we should go to prom with.
Cool. How about I meet you by the park in an hour?
Works for me. Anyways, Dad's taking me grocery shopping.
Okay, we'll see you then.
Call me when you leave the house.
I will.
Kimberly, your dad's waiting.
Mom, how many times have I told you to call me Kim? Kimberly sounds like I was born in ancient times.
You teenagers are always living on the edge. Drive safe. Have a nice time.
Dad, can you please drop me off at the park on our way home?
What will you do at the park alone?
No, Betty's gonna be there. We're meeting in an hour.
Okay, but does Mom know?
She will once you tell her after getting home.
Kimberly, you're gonna get me in trouble again. Remember how she gets angry if you don't come home in time?
Dad, I promise I'll be home by 6, okay?
6? You sure?
Yes, Dad. Hey, what's up?
Listen, I'm running a little late.
Oh, okay, no problem.
What happened?
Nothing. Betty's on the way. Bye, Dad. See you later.
Don't be late, kid.
I won't. Hey, how long are you gonna take? I'm at the park.
Well, why don't you go for a stroll? It's gonna take me a little time. Mom won't let me leave the house without cleaning my room.
Ugh, mothers.
So, are you gonna wait for me?
Yeah, better than going home and feeling bored. Maybe I will just go for a walk.
There's McDonald's at the end of the street. You can wait there.
I'll figure it out. Just hurry up, okay?
Thanks, Kim.
So funny. What a weirdo. Why the hell isn't he walking away? Oh, crap. Hey, Mom.
Kimberly, where are you?
I'm meeting Betty at McDonald's.
McDonald's? But you told your father you were going to meet your friend at the park. Kimberly, are you lying to me?
Oh, God, no, Mom. Plans change. And Betty will be here any minute. Mom, I'll talk to you later.
Parents, huh? Never stop nagging.
Tell me about it. Do I know you?
Not yet, but we can be friends. Would that be bad?
Well, I don't make friends with people my dad's age.
Come on, we'll be great friends. You should come to my house. I throw parties all the time. Free booze and much more.
No thanks. I'm waiting for my dad. He'll be here any minute.
But I thought you said you were here to meet Betty. Is Betty beautiful? You know, both of you are welcome to my party.
Dude, just get the frack away from me. I don't want to go to your sick parties.
At least give me your phone number. Come on, we'll have so much fun.
Help! Help, please! Call the cops! That man is harassing me. Please help me.
Okay, calm down. You're safe here. I'll call 911 and also the manager.
Can you please come and get me? I'm scared.
The story you just saw is loosely based on this CCTV footage found outside a McDonald's outlet. In this footage, a 14-year-old girl was harassed on her way to a friend's house. The man followed her and asked her weird questions, and even invited her to his house. The girl got scared and decided to run inside a McDonald's and ask for help. When the cops traced him, a report went to interview him. This is what the man said.
This is the guy they're looking for.
That's not me.
That's not you?
Well, what are they looking for him for?
You followed a 14-year-old into McDonald's?
I was just talking to her, and then she told me that she's young, and I told her, oh, okay, I was just trying to ask her.
I work as a barista at Starbucks. I usually work the morning shifts as it brought more customers, hence more tips. One morning, I was walking toward the Starbucks a couple blocks from my apartment. I noticed a woman sitting on the sidewalk in front of the door. She had a trolley bag beside her. At first, I just assumed it was someone in desperate need of a coffee. But as I got closer, the dirty, tattered clothes told me she was homeless. The woman was rubbing the bottom of her forearms against the concrete. Suddenly, she noticed me and got up, quickly walking away. I walked up to the door and looked down at the spot where she was rubbing her forearms. The concrete was stained a dark red, blood. I figured I'd wash it off with some hot water before opening the shop, so I quickly brushed it off, blaming it on addiction. After getting as much blood off the sidewalk as possible, and sanitizing the door handle of the hobo grease, I opened the shop and prepared for the morning rush. Here's your coffee. Have a nice day. I and my coworkers were in full swing at work. One after the other, customers came and we handled the usual Starbucks mugs filled with brewing hot coffee. I was so invested in my job that I didn't realize.
Jesus!
It was that homeless woman, standing in front of me now. Her face had a disgusting smile, flashing her rotten teeth. She slammed a $10 bill on the counter and said,
Once you're done screaming like a little girl, make me coffee.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. A flush of red covered her face. She got very angry and said,
Why?
It's not about you doing anything, ma'am. It's just...
I know what you're trying to say, that I'm not welcome into Starbucks because I'm homeless, because I don't look good enough to be a part of this crap store, right?
She spat on the floor of the shop, upsetting all the other customers, and I was in no mood to tolerate that.
Ma'am, if you don't leave, I'll have to call security. You can have your coffee for free, but please leave after that.
Coffee for free? So now he wants to be the big guy after insulting a poor old woman. Fine, I'll show you what I can do.
Saying this, she suddenly walked towards a table. She then picked up a chair and threw it on the floor, creating a huge ruckus. People started leaving the Starbucks in fear.
Somebody stop that lady!
I went to grab her, but she elbowed me in the eye. It was that same bloody elbow that left a stain on the wall moments back. As much as I got hurt, I also got her blood in my eye. My coworkers helped me get up. The lady grabbed her trolley bag and while walking towards the exit said,
"Now you'll know my pain."
I didn't understand why she said that at the time. But the rest of the day, I served the customers with a black eye. After work, I came home and went to take a shower. I was done for the day. While washing my body with soap, I looked down at my arms and noticed some light red dots on my skin, similar to mosquito bites. No itching or burning, they were just there. After examining them for a bit, I ignored them. The next morning I woke up and walked to the bathroom. When I looked in the mirror, I couldn't believe it. My skin was extremely puffy and blotchy. Several areas were a deep red and felt bumpy to the touch, but the worst part was how itchy the infected areas had become. Luckily I didn't have work that morning, so I went straight to the doctor. The doctor looked over my body and asked me several questions. She concluded that I simply had a bad case of hives. She gave me an injection to bring down the reaction. I picked up some anti-itch cream on the way home and went to bed for a nap. But as time passed, my rashes grew bigger and worse. Luckily there was no spot on my face, so I could still go to work. I started wearing full sleeves to hide the marks. But my God, the itching. I itched all day. It felt like tiny bugs with spiky legs were crawling underneath my clothes. I would rub my arms against the counter in an attempt to secretly scratch them. When I was behind the coffee machine, I would scratch furiously at my clothes before coming out with a smile on my face and calling for the customer to pick up their drink. When there weren't any customers in the shop, I would run to the bathroom and scratch my arms and legs, chest and stomach, shoulders and back, and scrub my hands as much as possible. After a few hours, I went to the bathroom and noticed I was bleeding, with scratch marks all over my arms, chest, and stomach. The bumpy texture grew worse as well. The bumps had formed into clusters and clumps. The heat from the coffee maker was making me sweat as well, which began to irritate the blisters that were beginning to form. I began to feel delirious. I've never fainted or passed out before, but I felt like I was going to. I began to feel lightheaded.
Hey, this isn't a grande pumpkin spice latte.
A customer's stern voice brought me back to my senses. Excuse me?
This is a tall. I asked for a grande.
With a couple of customers in line, I politely asked them to wait and went to take back the coffee cup, when I ended up screaming. Once I touched the coffee cup, a layer of my skin got stuck to it like a sticky note. The customer stepped back in disgust and everyone stared at me like I was some freak in a scary movie. That night I was fired. The shop closed early. My manager told me that they can't compromise the hygiene of the place. The apartment where I stayed banned me from entering. Tenants don't want to live with someone who has infections all over their skin. I live on the streets now, just like that homeless woman. My skin feels like fire ants crawling all over my body. I'm sure you've seen those photos of third-degree burns that people get when they spill boiling water or grease on them. That's what these look like now. My hair is falling out. My teeth are starting to fall out too. I now know what that homeless woman meant when she said,
"Now you'll know my pain."
The story you just saw is loosely based on this footage recorded at a Starbucks outlet by a customer. The customer went to Starbucks for his usual morning coffee when he saw a woman walk into the store holding a trolley bag. She had very bad hygiene. She was screaming at one of the baristas while throwing fits of outrage all over the place. The woman screamed at the top of her lungs, shouting profanities to the certain barista. Her behavior was so shocking that everyone at the store stopped and watched her go crazy. At one point, the woman even walked to the nearby table and grabbed an empty chair. She picked up the chair and stomped it on the floor furiously. Even before leaving the store, she cursed the Starbucks outlet and the barista, giving everyone trauma for life.